Lucas Oil Stadium, where the roof is normally closed, but tonight it's open, and there is the window we talk about with a nice breeze coming in from there. That is Cassius Vaughn back to return the kick. Matt Prater to send it his way, and off we go from Indianapolis. And Vaughn, on his first run back of the season, from 8 yards in, will bring the ball back to the 21-yard line. And interestingly, Denver won the toss but deferred, so they'll start on defense, and here is the Colts offense.
Andrew Luck, Stanford.
Trent Richardson, Alabama.
Stanley Havili, USC.
Reggie Wayne, Marrero.
Darius Hayward-Bay, Dirty Terps.
Kobe Fleener, Stanford.
Anthony Costanzo, Boston College. Hugh Thornton, Illinois.
Samson Satella, Hawaii.
Mike McGlynn, Pitt.
Goster Sherrillis, BC.
It's a balanced offense. Pep Hamilton, the new offensive coordinator. And they'll start from the 21-yard line and start on the ground and hand the ball off to Trent Richardson, who came over in that trade with Cleveland after the start of the season. So Andrew Luck, who finished second in the Heisman balloting twice, losing to Robert Griffin III in his senior year at Stanford, and he'll come up no huddle now. Not hurry up, but no huddle on 2nd down and 6 from the 25-yard line. This is the way Peyton might do it.
I was going to say.
And the ground again, and the former Cleveland Brown Richardson. The ball is loose, the ball is out, but are they going to rule him down by contact? And that is the initial signal, about 2 yards shy of the first down. Broncos, of course, feel that they have recovered the ball. No signal yet from the officials, who now gather. Chris Harris, the defensive back for Denver, came away with it. Carl Cheffers is the referee. And he is going to rule that it's down by contact.
Well, it's pretty tough to tell from these replays.
It appears to be coming loose, but the ruling on the field, which of course can be challenged by John Fox. If John Fox wants to challenge this, he can. And they'll take a look at it. Take a look at the bottom of the screen. And the ball comes out there, and it appears that the officials got it right. So Fox won't challenge. And it's 3rd down and 2 from the 29-yard line. And now they hand the ball off on 3rd and short, and just short of the first down, as the ball comes across the 30-yard line. So 3 runs, and that was Donald Brown carrying it, and Brown is short, so they start with 3 runs, and it's a 3 and out, and Manning will go to work.
Well, that's who the Indianapolis Colts are. They pride themselves on being a power football team, and they're going right after Von Miller right off the bat here, a guy that has not obviously been playing any football for the last 6 weeks, and they come up short.
And Denver has taken a timeout here. John Fox, who coached at Carolina for a number of seasons, in fact took them to a Super Bowl in the middle of the last decade, where they lost in a thriller to New England. In his 3rd year at Denver, and of course inherited Peyton Manning last year when they went 13-3 and had the best record in the AFC before losing to Baltimore in the wild card game. And of course, one of the great stories last year was Chuck Pagano, who got the job. He was an assistant at Baltimore, longtime assistant coach, contracted leukemia, which was discovered early in the season. Of course, Bruce Arians then took over. Chuck Strong became a mantra here in Indianapolis and even around the country. And he appears to be extremely healthy right now and in very good spirits. Trenton Holiday is back to receive a very short kick off the foot of McAfee, normally one of the best in the league, but a short boot here. And now Peyton Manning will come out in pretty good field position, as they'll spot the ball at around the 38-yard line. So Manning, first time back in Indianapolis after a 32-yard punt. And the crowd, of course, which was always so quiet when he was at work offensively, is now on the other side. And they come up in a pistol formation with Moreno, who has taken over clearly as the #1 back. #1 draft choice a couple of years ago, but had fumbling issues. Appears to have those cured. Gain of 9. No huddle again, and the crowd trying to be somewhat of a distraction to Manning. Good luck. And over the middle, and the pass is broken up, intended for Welker. Darius Butler breaks it up, and that'll make it 3rd down and 1.
Very interesting matchup here. Darius Butler with the New England Patriots practiced a lot against Wes Welker during the course of his time there. I asked him on the field before the game, do you feel like it gives you an edge? He said, absolutely.
3rd and 1 from the 47. So after Indianapolis goes 3 and out, Denver on 3rd down. Well, it's going to be very close, but they may have gone 3 and out as Mathis and Bethea are right there to take care of Moreno. He appears to be a little short of the first. Jeffers now looks over toward the sideline, and it will be 4th down, and Manning, at least for the moment, wants to stay out on the field.
Here comes Robert Mathis right inside the tight end on that side and ends up getting him in the backfield.
Well, Peyton may have wanted to stay out on the field, but John Fox says no. He sends in the punting group, Britton Colquitt to punt. That's T.Y. Hilton, who you just saw a moment ago, who sets up for the return at the 10-yard line. And they have a flag here.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Doesn't matter very much from this spot near midfield anyway. T.Y. Hilton, who's had a chance to run back a number of kicks this season, and with moderate success. His long run back this year, 23 yards. And Colquitt with a high hanging kick. And Hilton lets it go, and Denver's going to down it at the 6-yard line. So it's Manning, it's Luck, it's the War of 1812, and they each start with a 3 and out. Sunday Night Football from Indianapolis. Well, each team giving us some access for these still shots taken during the week as they prepared for this, what would be a monumental regular season game. And not that a lot went on this week, but really about 18 million things we can talk about. From the 7-yard line, Colts start drive number 2 with Luck's first pass, and it's caught, and it's a 1st down on a 13-yard gain as Reggie Wayne, the venerable one in his 13th year, makes the grab.
And Champ Bailey just coming back off a foot injury, first time playing a week ago, and admittedly a little rusty, didn't look that good. It was interesting listening to Andrew Luck talk about it. He said, I know at some point I'm going to look out there and go, wow, look at that, Reggie Wayne and Champ Bailey. That's pretty exciting.
Wayne 13 years in the league and Bailey 15 years in the league. Gain of 12 as they spot the ball at the 19-yard line. And the 4th run is Donald Brown swinging to the outside with some room, and he gets taken down in the open field. Taken down in the open field after a gain of about 6. Raheem Moore making the tackle.
Well, Von Miller is a movement kind of guy, and this time he tries to come inside, and Brown bounces it to the outside. Donald Brown averaging almost 8 yards per carry on the season, and all the conversation about Trent Richardson, who really has not even come close to those kinds of numbers.
2nd and 3. Luck from the gun. Under pressure, and he's going to go down. And Sean Phillips, so many seasons with San Diego in his 10th year in the league, now has 6.5 sacks in a little bit more than 6 games.
What a godsend this guy has been. Von Miller suspended for the first 6 games, and all you do is pick up Sean Phillips, and he leads your team in sacks. He has carried the load while they've been waiting for their sackmeister to get back in action.
Broncos 40 straight games now. That would be the equivalent of 2.5 seasons, longest active streak in the league. 3rd and 11 from the 18. Broncos show blitz, and here they come. After Luck had delayed the count and the pass is broken up, incomplete, intended for T.Y. Hilton, broken up by Rogers Cromartie, and there's a flag down.
Offside, number 90, defense, 5-yard penalty, repeat third down.
So following his sack, Phillips is offside. It was 3rd down and 11, so it's now 3rd down and 6 as the Colts keep the ball.
This is a different Colts offense than it was under Peyton Manning. They are much more about ball control. The belief here is you're not going to win a shootout. There's Pep Hamilton right there, their offensive coordinator. You're not going to win a shootout against the Denver Broncos and Peyton Manning. So they're going to try and control this ball, control the clock.
Luck protected well, stays in the pocket and throws, and it's deflected and incomplete. Intended for T.Y. Hilton, broken up by Harris. So good work by the Bronco secondary and good work by Phillips as well. And the second punt upcoming from McAfee.
You just wonder if Peyton Manning almost needed that first drive just to get his feet on the ground. I would imagine it probably took a little bit, but I also would think he's pretty locked in at this point.
Agreed. Trendon Holiday, what a pickup he was from the Texans last year. And this again, a short line drive kick fielded at the 32-yard line. Holiday trying to get around the corner. He's able to do that and then runs out of room right in front of the Colts bench. So Holiday sets Manning up near midfield 6 minutes into the game. From the 44. Manning down the sideline, caught on the run by Eric Decker, and that'll set them up at the 15-yard line. Over Greg Toller. Indy has 10 defensive backs active tonight. Doesn't matter to Manning, 39-yard game.
And what you're going to get from the Colts defensively all night are these one-on-one matchups. They completely now have gone to that style of play. Vontae Davis, Darius Butler, Greg Toller. Peyton Manning all night long tonight will get these individual matchups that he often does not get.
Gain of 39. Ball at the 17. Manning to the right side again, caught for the touchdown, Eric Decker. So back-to-back passes to Decker, and Denver takes the lead. And for Decker, that is touchdown catch number 8.
Decker's lined up right there, just working against Pathay, the safety here, who stumbles and falls coming out. And that is just couldn't end up being a whole lot easier for Peyton Manning than what it was. They come out and do what they've done to everybody else this season, just go up and down the field.
2 plays, 56 yards, both passes. Matt Prater, who's had a perfect year, remains perfect as he kicks the extra point with 8:16 to go in the opening quarter. And the Denver Broncos on a record-setting scoring pace lead 7-0. .30 straight games for Peyton Manning with a touchdown pass. That's the longest active streak in the league, a little bit less than 2 years worth. And the kickoff is fielded at the 1-yard line by Cassius Vaughn. His first return was 30 yards, and this one takes him out to the 26-yard line. Let's take a look at the Denver defense.
Derek Wolfe, Cincinnati.
Kevin Vickerson, Michigan State, Spartan Dogs.
Terrence Knighton, Temple Owls.
Sean Phillips, Boilermakers.
Vaughn Miller, Texas A&M.
Paris Leonard, Richmond.
Danny Trevathan, Kentucky. Champ Bailey, University of Georgia.
Dookie Inacho, San Jose State.
Raheem the Dream Moore, UCLA.
Dominique Rogers-Cromartie, Tennessee State.
So Miller back, but the key guy missing is the middle linebacker Woodyard. Second straight game as Paris Leonard gets the start. Trent Richardson is the running back. And play action, and rolling out is Luck, who's very good outside the pocket. And T.Y. Hilton makes the catch and takes the ball to the 46-yard line. Good tight roll by Luck, and that's a gain of 20 yards.
Well, that is some throw right there by Luck. I really thought that Chris Harris was going to have a chance for this ball, throwing it back across his body, one of those Cardinal sins, but he threw it so hard it just whipped right by Chris Harris, so I think he thought he had it too.
from the 45-yard line. Blitz coming. They get to Luck, but he gets the pass away, and it's caught at midfield. Taken in by Darius Hayward-Bay, who has the ball spotted just in Bronco territory at the 49-yard line after a gain of 7. Jack Del Rio, the former Jacksonville head coach, now in his second year as the Broncos defensive coordinator.
But for all the talk of what the Colts want to do offensively, control the clock, run the ball, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff, you're down 7-0, and here you go. And this is what's happened to opposing offenses around the NFL. You have a plan, but then you can't stick to it.
Well, the Broncos have had the lead 72% of the time this year. So the opponents are always trying to catch up. Luck escaping, throws on the run, caught, first down. Reggie Wayne, who thought he might be part of that fire sale when Manning left and Dallas Clark left, and a lot of guys were not having their contract renewed, but Chuck Pagano called Reggie when Reggie was going to sign with somebody else, maybe New England, who knows. And at that point, Pagano said, hey, look, I need you, I want you, you fit in perfectly, and Reggie came back.
And it was a surprise to me because it was a total rebuilding job here. And for them to bring back Reggie Wayne at the end of his career, it was almost stunning. But I think it's the work ethic they wanted to retain as much as anything else.
Well, his 1,000th pass of his career last week, and that's dropped by Stanley Havili, the fullback, out in the flat, incomplete. It'll be second down and 10.
It's sort of interesting that Reggie Wayne describes himself as a morning guy, a guy that would come in at 5:30 in the morning to go do his summer workouts. And typically Peyton Manning was already in the building, but it is that kind of a work ethic that not only Reggie Wayne, that Peyton Manning brought for all those years of success, and pretty easy to tell why now.
Peyton's always been Philo accounting, first in, last out.
That's it.
Second and 10 at the 34. Over the middle, the pass sails too high, incomplete. Hilton in the area, and it will be third down and 10. It's amazing too. The Colts in the last 2 years have not lost back-to-back games, and they're trying to avoid that tonight because they lost last week at San Diego.
Well, here's Von Miller out here, and Coster Sherrillis is going to handle him, but there's always going to be help around the corner. It'll be interesting to see how Von Miller does as this game goes along. They're going to secure it early on, but Sherrillis can prove that he can handle him. Why not?
Third and 10. They go 5 wide and empty here. Broncos with a 4-man rush, and the pass is caught inside the 10 by Darius Hayward-Bay to set up a first down and goal.
Nice read that time by Andrew Luck. He saw the safety moving over to the middle of the field, and here's the opening right down the seam. Quarterbacks have learned to love that throw because now in this day and age where you can't hit a receiver in the head, receivers are a lot braver going up for those balls.
First and goal, Donald Brown is the back in this set. Denver last in the league in pass defense. And they give it to Brown. And Brown takes the ball to the 2-yard line. Of course, that comes with a little bit of an asterisk because teams are always trying to come from behind, always throwing in garbage time and putting up a lot of yards against that Denver secondary, but they have been vulnerable defensively this season.
Yeah. One of the beliefs is that Von Miller is a guy that just hasn't had much physical contact, and there's a certain conditioning that goes with hitting and hitting and hitting. And if you've been out for several months here and don't have that, they feel like if they can go bang him around a little bit, maybe take a little steam out of Von Miller.
Second down and goal. And Luck escapes, throws, and the bullet into the end zone is incomplete. Jack Doyle, tight end, the intended receiver. It'll be third down and goal. And an injured Colt is the center. Samson Satelli is the man who needs the attention. Limping off is Samson Satelli, the center. That means Mike McGlynn, who started at right guard, goes to center. Here's how it happened.
Just gets rolled up in that interior line play. But this is a very significant down here now. As Colts with a nice drive, you need to finish this.
Third and goal. Play action again. Chased and goes down as he throws. Terrence Knighton got to him. And the pass is incomplete. So Luck going down. They had a 1st and goal, and now it's 4th and goal, and have to settle for an Adam Vinatieri chip shot.
Coverage on the outside, really just one-on-one type coverage, and Reggie Wayne tried to make a late break, but there was nobody there. Guys looked almost surprised that he was moving out that way, like they had something else working.
27-yard attempt for Vinatieri in his 18th season is perfect. So it's Denver 7, Indianapolis 3. If you're a follower of football, you know about the firestorm all week. Jim Irsay, the owner and CEO of the team, had this to say last week. Tom Brady never had consistent numbers, but he has 3 of these championship rings. Pittsburgh 2, Giants 2, Baltimore 2. We had 1. That leaves you frustrated. You make the playoffs 11 times. You're out in the first round 7 out of 11 times. You love to have the Star Wars number from Peyton and Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne, but mostly you love this, a Super Bowl ring. And of course, what that did is it created this whole maelstrom where Peyton was not going to be drawn into the controversy, but he certainly had enough people who came to his defense. And there are many, many ways you can look and parse what Irsay said. Is the kick is taken by Holiday, always a threat from deep in the end zone, but this time the coverage is good to the 12-yard line. When I first heard it, I thought it was more of a shot at Bill Polian, who was the general manager. Maybe a little bit at Tony Dungy. I don't know. But, you know, what Irsay was saying is, hey, we had all these great teams. We only won 1 ring. How did you assess it?
Well, I'm just going to start from Peyton Manning's standpoint. When you throw the name Tom Brady out there, and that somehow he was more successful because of the Super Bowl rings, and somehow what they did here in Indianapolis during that time was a bit of a failure, that's going to sting no matter what anybody says.
Oh, yeah. John Fox came to his defense. He thought it was a cheap shot. Here's Moreno taking it for a gain of 9. Of course, everybody makes such a big deal of, oh, Manning wants to come in and kill these guys. And Peyton told us last night, I don't like it when people say how badly I want to win the game. It's like an insult. I want to win every game I've ever played badly. And the pass is too high, intended for Moreno. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
You know, it's really unfortunate. I don't think that Jim Irsay would have believed at the time that that was going to be the issue it became. But when you are the owner of a football team and speaking for everybody of those last 14 years, that was a little rough.
3rd and 1 out of the pistol. What the Colts PR staff would love to do is take Irsay's Twitter account away, among other things.
Yep.
And they hand the ball off inside, and Moreno, did he get to the 23-yard line? It's going to be extremely close as they mark the ball what appears to be maybe entry shy. Let's see where they put it down. Yellow line is normally pretty accurate, even though, and you know this, of course, it's unofficial.
Nice job right in here. These guys just going to hammer it down inside. The one liabilities that the Denver Broncos have for all the great numbers that Julius Thomas, their tight end, has already put up this season, he is not much of a blocker. Really showed up in the game last week against Jacksonville. That time standing up on the line of scrimmage in a short yardage situation.
Well, Sheffers has to do a knee bend to tell us that it comes up about a length short. And that's the second time that Manning has been faced with a 4th and 1, and has to come off the field for the punting unit. So they start with a 9-yard run on 1st down and can't get the 1st down. And Britton Colquitt to punt for the 2nd time in the game. His first kick was 51 yards. T.Y. Hilton is back to receive it. And with 3 minutes left in the quarter, Hilton underneath, runs it back from the 30, and stumbles forward to the 39-yard line where Luck and company take over. 2:58 to go in the opening quarter. 7-3 Broncos. Common thread: Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck. Their fathers playing quarterback in the NFL. Oliver between 82 and 86. Luck finishing second in the Heisman balloting. Manning and Luck each #1 draft picks. Each started every game as a rookie. Luck had a better group around him than Peyton did. And also, the fathers were teammates with the Houston Oilers back in the early 80s for a couple of seasons. From the 39-yard line, and there's action before the snap.
False start, number 78, offense, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Gosh, they're Cheryl, let's go to Michelle.
Well, starting center Samson Satelli questionable right now with a right knee. They took him back to the locker room, tried to fit him with a brace to get him back out here. They've only got 7 offensive linemen up. If he goes down, that leaves him with 6, Al.
All right, Michelle. Meanwhile, McGlynn has played center. He played the center spot in weeks 3 and 4 this season when Satelli was also hurt. Lincoln back, as he did in weeks 3 and 4, comes in at right guard, McGlynn's spot. And so it'll be first down and 15 from the 34-yard line. And Richardson swinging to the outside, and he'll get tripped up by Miller, Von Miller, knocking him down to the line of scrimmage.
Well, one of the problems, though, the Colts are going to end up having is this is a team that likes to play with 6 offensive linemen. They bring in that jumbo package, and Kobe Fleener really is not much of a blocker on that end as well. So now Von Miller probably is going to be able to overmatch Kobe Fleener on the outside on the edge.
2nd and 13. And the Broncos rushing 5. Luck steps away, throws incomplete. T.Y. Hilton covered by Champ Bailey. 3rd down and 13, and Luck has started the game 5 of 10 for 79 yards.
And Andrew Luck's a guy, obviously a smart guy out of Stanford, his high school valedictorian, 6'4", 240. And he steps up, and he's a force trying to get him on the ground. But he's a guy, he admitted to us, he said, you know, sometimes I like getting hit. It kind of wakes me up. If I'm going bad, I take off and run, and just by getting hit, I feel like I'm back in the game again.
The right tackle, Cerulis, lost a shoe. Thus the only other lineman, Joe Wrights, is in the game at right tackle, and the pass is caught, but not for very much yardage by Kobe Fleener. Chris Harris comes up to make the tackle. That'll make it 4th down and 9, and McAfee will kick it away for the 3rd time in the quarter.
I'd say this Denver defense has improved a bit over what we saw in Dallas a few weeks ago. Still the 32nd ranked pass defense, but they are rock solid against the run, averaging just about 3 yards per carry. So now team's almost forced to throw it.
And McAfee, this is his best kick of the night. Gets a Bronx cheer from the folks in central Indiana. And Holiday will swing to the outside and be taken out of bounds with the ball still loose. Did it stay in bounds? Because if it did, it's going to be a Colts touchdown.
The officials are pointing the other way.
Sergio Brown picked it up. So Holiday lost it, and now he sees the official's signal. And let's take a look as it's very, very close. Sheffers coming over, checking it out. Stanley Havili created the fumble. The crowd is now looking at the replay. They think it stayed in bounds. He's in, he's in. The ball is out. Does the ball stay in? Here's to.
I think we're going to get a change on that one. Now they won't be able to award the touchdown, right? But they can award possession of the ball.
Correct. We'll go over this with Pagano. It was not ruled. It would have normally been, had the ruling been a turnover, it would have been automatically checked because it was a turnover, but it was ruled that it wasn't a turnover. Thus Pagano has to challenge, and we think he will win it and get the ball deep in Denver territory. So Holiday knows what's coming, waiting to hear his fate, which is going to result in a turnover here. And again, you can't advance this as it bounces in the playing field and then is recovered. And Brown is going to get the ball where he first touched it.
I'm going to guess Stanley Havili's played a little defense in his day. He had Trendon Holiday pinned against the boundary, knew he wasn't going to lose him, and then took the guy that's 5'5" tall and 170 pounds. You know Havili is much stronger than he is, and just ripped that thing out. It was really a brilliant play on his part. And so far, this game is going all Colts' way as far as I'm concerned. The one thing you didn't want to have happen is get blown out in the first quarter in your home ballpark, and everything is sort of working in favor of the Colts right now.
So the only thing that the missed call by the officials results in is the fact you can't advance it. Had they ruled it correctly the first time, or what we think is correctly, then if the fumble had been ruled on the field of play instead of out of bounds, it could have been advanced. But once it's ruled in the manner they ruled it, you can't advance it.
And they really caught a great break there that ball managed to stay in bounds.
After review, the ruling on the field is reversed. The runner was not out of bounds. The ball was dislodged prior to him being out of bounds, and a clear recovery by the Indianapolis player at the 11-yard line. That's where Indianapolis will have it 1st and 10.
Well, the crowd wants a touchdown, but the reason they can't get a touchdown is the ball, it was in effect whistled dead. The play was whistled dead. Again, if they don't whistle it dead and they call it a turnover, ruled it as a turnover, which it eventually turns out to be, then it could have been advanced for the touchdown. And that's why the crowd is booing.
This thing needs to be advanced for a touchdown for the Colts. You catch a break like that, they've been down here before, unable to stick it in, and it's time.
So from the 11 on 1st down. And they'll swing it out to Hayward Bay. Clear sailing to the end zone. Darius Hayward Bay, former Oakland Raiders, started to swing in motion toward Luck, swung back the other way, catches it in the flat, takes it in.
Just a great play design that time by Pep Hamilton. Completely fooled the Broncos defense.
So one play after the turnover, Vinatieri bangs it through, and with 1:20 to go in the opening quarter, Denver in unusual position, trailing.
Motion's coming over here. They're going to switch this off, and watch, I think this is Champ Bailey right here, thinking that Darius Hayward Bay ran all the way across the field, got fooled, comes back the other way, and there simply is nobody left on that side of the field. You can see Champ, I believe, I can barely see that number, but I think that's Champ Bailey ripping across the field, thinking he had to keep up with the speedster Hayward Bay. See, they're going to switch it, so now Chris Harris is going to take the outside guy, and during the switch, somehow Champ Bailey lost his receiver. There's not been a good return so far for Champ Bailey. Did not look good against Jacksonville either. That's a long time to be away, hurt in the second preseason game. And sometimes you just lose a little feel for the game.
Meanwhile, that restructured offensive line on a 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line, helping to pave the way with protection. Holiday this time after that fumble on the road to atonement, and McAfee bangs him out of bounds. McAfee, who hit his hardest most linebackers, playing the role of a linebacker right there.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I don't think I've ever seen a kicker with this kind of hit. Of course, it helps a little bit when the guy is smaller than you are, just 5'5". Pat McAfee is going to be legend among kickers everywhere.
Well, he has a 63-pound weight advantage. 233 to 170.
That was awesome.
From the 49-yard line. Manning's had 2 3-and-outs and then a 2-play touchdown drive. Off the fake, sliding. And trying to find the open man, but the secondary does a great job. Intended for Demarius Thomas, and it will be 2nd down and 10.
Prior to the pass, holding, number 20, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic, 1st down.
But that's Darius Butler who holds, as Manning's bought so much time that Butler winds up holding on, and it's a 1st down.
One thing you see when you watch the Colts tape is that these defensive backs are a little grabby down the field. Typically you can get away with that. The officials may call 1 or 2, but they certainly don't often call 6 or 7.
1st down, Moreno squirting through the hole over right guard to the 39-yard line. Tackled by Bethea, gain of 7, 2nd and 3, final minute of the quarter.
A lot of people doubted whether or not Noshawn Moreno was even going to make this team. In the last couple of weeks, I think he's taken over. I think it's his job now.
Colts 20 plays, and this is only the 10th for Denver. And Moreno is a yard short of the 1st down, 3rd and 1, tackled by Angerer at the 37-yard line with a half a minute to go in the 1st quarter.
Well, we've seen this situation before. This has been a bit of the Achilles heel so far. They've been trying to run it. Wonder if Peyton takes things in his own hands here.
It's the third and 1 situation. They haven't converted on the other 2. Manning stepping away, clock running down, and the quarter will end. So Manning will take it the other way on a 3rd and 1. 7 points for the Broncos in the quarter, 10 for the Colts. Sunday Night Football from Indy resumes after this. And tonight you've got Edgerrin James in the house, along with Marvin Harrison, 2 great former Colts. Looking on, you saw the tribute to Peyton Manning in the outfield at Victory Field, and now we start the 2nd quarter with a 3rd and 1, and Manning to the air this time, swinging to the outside and backing up and making the catch is Jacob Tammy, who played here with Manning a couple of years back for a 1st down. So they couldn't run it for the 1st on 2 3rd and 1s, and they throw it this time, 1st and 10.
Pretty nice play there. I think that was Sean Phillips jumping over the top there, but this, my apologies.
You saw Greg Minuski, the defensive coordinator, sending in the signal at the 30-yard line. Inside handoff and a very short gain to Moreno. So the Denver Broncos, that offensive line, and they've had their own issues earlier in the season, but Manny Ramirez takes over this year at center. They get Vasquez, longtime Charger, who was a teammate and roommate of Ramirez at Texas Tech. He's over at right tackle right now. They lost Ryan Clady, one of the best left tackles in the league, earlier in the season. So a little mix and match there as well. 2nd down and 9, and Manning hit as he throws and gets it away to Decker, who scored the touchdown earlier, and he has a 1st down as he takes it to the 16, and Jarrell Freeman came in and put a shot on Manning.
This Jarrell Freeman is really becoming a star in the league. Over 200 tackles for him a season ago, came out of Canada, and he is a guy probably without question their best cover linebacker, but also has the ability to get after Peyton Manning. And most people believe you're ever going to beat Peyton Manning, you better hit him a few times.
1st and 10, and the pistol this time again with Ronnie Hillman now the back. And Manning will send it to Hillman, but sniffing it out perfectly is LaRon Landry, the former Redskin and Jet, who's been hurt, and he's making his return tonight. Heavy hitter.
If you watch LaRon Landry enough, you will see certain missile shots coming up. And that time, LaRon Landry, who is a guy that not only is a big hitter, but has the speed to cover sideline to sideline, a huge re-addition to this team after his injury.
And you saw those numbers, red zone passing, 17 touchdowns, no picks, 17 of his 23 now touchdowns for the season. On 2nd and 9. Manning dancing, buying time, but again, it's only a short game this time. Welker cutting across over the middle. He's tackled there by Angerer. And that will set up a 3rd down and 6 for Denver.
And this is really about the best you can hope for. You know, you talk to anybody on the Colts, but Greg Minuski, their defensive coordinator, said, I don't care if they go 90 yards on every drive. If they have to kick field goals, we win.
You saw Adam Gase, the offensive coordinator, a year younger than the quarterback he calls the signals into. 3rd down and 6, and Manning throws a floater into the end zone and a fingertip catch made by Julius Thomas for the touchdown. Julius Thomas, his 3rd year in the league, but it's the first time he's seen any extensive action, and what a godsend he has been for this team.
Well, coming out of absolute nowhere, Julius Thomas, just 1 catch in his career before this season, and he's going to bobble this ball, but they tried to get it out, but simply could not, and he has become the X factor on this offense.
So it's a 3rd and 6. Does he have complete possession with both feet down?
I think he does.
Again, all scoring plays are reviewed, so they're looking at it upstairs. And Sheffers is so signaling that it's good. So a 56-yard kickoff returns. Got them started from Holiday. Touchdown on 3rd down and 6. Denver retakes the lead. And Prater for the extra point. Thomas with his 8th touchdown catch of the season. A couple of minutes into the 2nd quarter. 14-10 Denver. Well, Pat Bowlen in his 30th season as the owner and CEO of the Denver Broncos, and he has had, of course, his share of success. Been to the Super Bowl 5 times and won a pair in John Elway's last 2 seasons. Cassius Vaughn running it back to the 26-yard line. And back to the touchdown we go.
Always tough anytime. There's Jarrell Freeman right here, and you're going to get this route. You can see Freeman will end up thinking he's going to take the tight end down the field. Julius Thomas falls back under on Wes Welker. Lesser of 2 evils, and Peyton Manning, he sees it easier than I do. He sees it when it's happening on the field. Nice read, beautiful throw. That Julius Thomas, boy, what a weapon he is.
Meanwhile, Satelli is back in the game after missing a couple of series, the Indy center. And from the gun, getting a big break. Off the left side was Miller. Meanwhile, Brown makes the catch. And that's a gain of 8. I think Von Miller comes off that line of scrimmage as fast as anybody.
Yeah, that was right there as far as being a little quick. But I tell you, they've got a good one over on that side. And Gosder Sherilis, a guy that they say really has come over and just been the bell cow, the guy that holds everybody accountable, of course, coming over from Detroit. And he just doesn't put up with a lot with that offensive line. They all respect him, and tonight he's getting the job done against Von Miller.
2nd and a deuce from the 34. Brown, number 1 pick in 09 out of Connecticut, gets tackled over the 35. Trevathan making the tackle, and you begin to wonder, they picked up, the Colts did Trent Richardson in that trade, but had some guys stayed healthy, including Ahmad Bradshaw, Vic Ballard. They might not have needed to make that trade.
Yep.
But Brown gives them a little bit of a change of pace. 3rd and 1. They've got Richardson in the game. There he is, coming over from the Browns, the overall number 3 pick in the draft last year behind Luck and RG3. And they give it to him, and he's going to get stuffed at the 33-yard line, and that's Von Miller saying, Well,
Von Miller really has had a bigger impact on the running game so far than he has on the passing game. His quickness just meeting that in the backfield, and you could see the offensive lineman just unable to keep his feet, trying to pull around there. And that is really what Trent Richardson is paid to do, and that is pick up some of those short yardage plays. And so far, it hasn't worked out that way.
Here's McAfee's fourth punt. His last one was his best of the night, 53 yards. Flag is thrown. High booming kick. And with the penalty, Holiday's going to let it bounce. Takes a nice Colts bounce sideways at the 10-yard line, and will get the call with the flag thrown at the snap. Pretty extended conversation here. Fox indicates that a block, illegal block below the waist. What is the call? It's actually Cheffers who threw the flag. Now he's checking with his associates.
Formation on the kicking team. Number 54 had reported ineligible on the prior play, and then played at an eligible position. That's an illegal formation, 5-yard penalty.
You got it?
Yeah, well, when you come in, you've got to report if you're going to be an ineligible number but an eligible player. So now it was an illegal formation, and because that kick was so good and down around the 10-yard line, they're going to say, yeah, we'll take that again, going back.
So that's Mario Harvey, who is a linebacker by trade and can also play some fullback on short yardage situations and on special teams.
And that's exactly what happened. In the play previous, he was playing fullback, and so then he goes back to being an ineligible player on the inside.
There you go. From the 28-yard line. Let's see if McAfee can do it again. Holiday's going to back up. Good kick. Holiday from the 13-yard line. Flag is thrown on the run back. And he takes it back to the 29-yard line, but the penalty marker is down. In fact, two of them back at the 11 and the 13.
During the return, holding, number 12 return team, half the distance to the goal, first down.
That's Andre Caldwell. All right, it's all sorted out now. 9:41 to go in the half. Denver by 4. Two guys who really know Manning well. Clyde Christensen, longtime assistant here under 3 regimes, and Reggie Wayne. They know everything about number 18.
Well, Reggie Wayne telling us that he has 12 pages of signals that he had used over the years with Peyton Manning, but he didn't give his defense any of them. Said it won't do you any good. He can make a call that forces you to disregard the audible. So you may know the words, but he goes up and goes red, and then whatever the words are, and that means disregard everything I've done. So all I would do is mess them up. They asked for him. I said no.
You know, I know, you know, I know.
That's exactly what it is. And we saw earlier this year, Peyton Manning burned the Ravens on one.
You know. From the 6, they start this drive. Moreno to the 10. Here's Michelle.
Yeah, Clyde Christensen agreed with all of that, Chris. He told me that it's just ridiculous to try to predict Peyton, because one week Peyton would call a play Florida, the next week he'd change it to Gator, then he'd change it to Spurrier, then he'd change it to Steve, and he'd continue to change them. You just can't rely on it.
Trickery and deceit will get you everywhere. 2nd and 7. And Decker can't one-handed. Christensen's been here. He was with Tony Dungy in Tampa. Tony brought him here. Then he was with Jim Caldwell. And Chuck Pagano said, you stay with me.
I tell you, this Luis Vasquez doing a pretty nice job over here working against Robert Mathis in this building with all the noise. Here's a guard. Remember, he was a guard having to kick out now and play tackle with maybe the toughest assignment that there is in the NFL against a guy with 9.5 sacks already this year, but he's been doing well.
Taking the spot of Orlando Franklin over there, who got hurt last week and is inactive tonight. Manning stepping away, loses the ball, and the ball will stay in the end zone. The Colts are there. Jeffers is checking. You got Robert Mathis, the master of the sack fumble. They're going to call it a safety, saying that it was recovered out of bounds. But Robert Mathis, who has done this a million times when he's been Peyton's teammate, does it to Manning himself.
Doesn't work on one side, you go to the other side, and there it goes. That was the empty hand.
And the ball is recovered, but out of bounds for the safety. This is both a scoring play and a turnover, so it's being reviewed right now. Clearly, number one, Manning's arm is not coming forward, so you definitely have a sack. You have a sack fumble. The question now is, as Walden tries to recover the ball, does he have possession before he goes out of bounds? The ball is a little bit loose there. It's so crazy, even if your hair is out of bounds, believe it or not, if your hair is out of bounds, you're out of bounds.
Yeah, I don't think he regains control until right about there, and my belief is his shoulder is on the line at that point. No control, no control, no control, and now that shoulder, it's close. I wonder if they would count the hair.
They do. They absolutely. The hair is, if you want to grow your hair like that, I think the Polamalu was involved in a play a few years ago where the hair came into play.
It's a funny rule because you can actually tackle by the hair and no penalty. There's all kinds of hair rules out there.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Safety.
Well, the crowd wanted 5 more points, but they'll have to settle for 2, and they're going to get the ball with the score 14-12 on a free kick from the 20-yard line.
And Robert Mathis has started. They tried to go with Chris Clark blocking one-on-one on the outside against him, but without help, it's going to be tough. No, Sean Marino ordinarily would come up and try and chip. Remember, backup tackles now on both sides. Vasquez did pretty well on the right. Mathis goes to the other side and gets success and scores.
That's 39 career sack fumbles for Robert Mathis, most all-time, tied now with Jason Taylor, and it's really since 1982 when sacks became an official statistic. Of course, the late Deacon Jones always said I had twice as many as anybody, but it became official in '82, and 39 of them for Robert Mathis. Another guy who, you know, he might have gone in the fire sale too. He thought, well, maybe I'm gone. Dwight Freeney was sent away this year. Signed with San Diego, got hurt, and there it is. Dolman 38, Taylor and Mathis with 39.
Well, 10.5 sacks on the season now. He's been fantastic so far, and that after leading the Colts last year with just 8 sacks, so off to a tremendous start.
10.5 sacks for him, leading the league. Levon Brazil this time is going to return the kick, which is in effect a punt, a free kick from the 20, and Brazil from the 18 brings it back to the 34-yard line. From the 34-yard line, Brown is the running back in this set from the 34 on first down off play action. And Luck finds the open man, and turns out to be Brown, and Donald Brown with a flag thrown after a broken tackle takes it to the 38, but Jeffers will check it out. The flag is at the Denver 46.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, number 25 defense. That penalty is declined. Results of the play, first down.
Chris Harris, and of course they'll take the play, which is 28 yards.
Yeah, it's always anytime you have the bootleg action coming one way and the back going back the other. If you have a good patient quarterback like Luck is, able to come all the way back across and come up with a big play. This is turning into a little bit of the shootout that maybe the Colts hadn't envisioned, but you kind of get the feeling Andrew Luck's ready to go and wants to take his shot at Peyton Manning.
Roger Scamardi came out of the game holding his arm, and out of the outside, Brown will go nowhere as he gets tackled by Chris Harris.
Probably the biggest improvement on this Broncos team over the last couple years, just their ability to stop the run. And when you can stop a team's run, it just puts them in a situation, especially now with Von Miller back in action, where you can start to come after the quarterback. Now 2nd down and 10, all the advantage moves to the defensive side of the ball. You can stunt, you can do anything you want here.
Luck in the pocket, protected well, and then the pass is incomplete over the middle, intended for Reggie Wayne. Well, you saw the roof open, and we thought it might be a little bit of gamesmanship because, well, we'd heard that Peyton preferred the roof to be closed, but his numbers would belie that. He's been great under any circumstance, but it's an interesting call they made tonight because right now it's 53 degrees. That what they call the window is open facing the north, and it's chilly in here.
I think they were going to do anything they could come up with to try and give him a little edge in this one. They don't want him coming back in this building and walking out with a win.
3rd and 11. And Luck, who can run. And Luck fighting his way close to a 1st down. Miller and Harris were there, but Andrew is 6'4" and about 240 and gets the 1st down.
And no slide here. Here's the big guy. Said occasionally it wakes him up if he gets hit in the ball game. He knew exactly where that 1st down marker was, and no slide, jumps a little bit on the tail end of this thing. Fantastic play there by Andrew Luck.
Well, he's had 7 runs on 3rd down plays this year. Every one has resulted in a 1st down. That off of 3rd and 11.
That's points too. That one almost guarantees you 3 points at least.
Already in field goal range, and the pass is batted away by Danny Trevathan. And boy, he's really come on. Remember him on opening night? He had the interception against Joe Flacco against Baltimore, and then he's running free to the end zone, and he gives up the ball at about the half-yard line, and it winds up rolling out of the end zone. It winds up with Woodyard getting hurt on the play. It was an embarrassing thing. He goes to the bench and he tells John Fox, "I'm sure I was in," but he wasn't.
No. But he is a tremendous player. Great coverage linebacker.
2nd and 10. And this is Richardson with some tough running here. Breaking a tackle at the line of scrimmage and getting to the 20-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 2.
Mike McGlynn coming around on a little power action here. Around this way, and this is really what they've been waiting for Trent Richardson. He had a nice play last week on a little flare pass to the outside, made some people miss. He's a big, strong guy, and he loves contact, but what they're telling him is love contact a little more. Use your quickness and less of your physical abilities. We'd like to keep you around for a little while.
3rd and 2 from the 20. Luck to the outside. He'll convert. Havili makes the catch and takes it all the way in for a Colts touchdown. Stanley Havili came over in a trade with Philadelphia, and he gives the Colts the lead.
Now, when you have a defensive end that ends up in coverage, sometimes you flank a fullback out and it messes with your defensive formations. Robert Ayers, absolutely no way he's going to stay with Havili, who's had a big game here so far tonight.
So Mathis sets it up with the safety. That's 2 points. Puts him in possession for a touchdown drive. That's 7 after the Vinatieri conversion. And with 5:50 to go in the opening half, Indianapolis on top, 19-14. The new 18. Some refer to this as the War of 1812. Peyton Manning back home again in Indiana. But Robert Mathis, who wasn't allowed to get even close to him in all of the years they were teammates, is able to create his 39th sack fumble.
He got close to him on this one, didn't he? You can just imagine, first of all, Robert Mathis coming in and making a big stop on a short yardage play. But then this is the difference maker right here. All those years in the red jersey, nobody was ever allowed to touch Peyton Manning. They said if you got within 2 yards of him, the coaches started screaming at you. Well, that sack fumble right there just turned into 9 points for the Indianapolis Colts.
And a 5-point Colts lead, and Moreno will get taken down for a loss of a couple. Walden and Corey Redding are there. 2nd and 13.
I'll tell you the other thing, you have to give a little credit to this secondary now. They're starting to match up, and this has been some man coverage, some bump and run, physical play. They've taken this Broncos offense out of rhythm a bit.
Swing pass, Moreno to the outside, but he can only get back to the original line of scrimmage, making it 3rd and 10. Vontae Davis making the stop. 5:15 to go in the half. Manning doesn't want the defense to change, so he comes right to the line. Quick snap, and the pass is dropped. Demaryius Thomas, who was bracketed, can't hold on, and it's a very fast 3 and out.
Well, Peyton Manning is notorious for knowing, are you by the upfield shoulder or not of the defensive back. Vontae Davis just barely stayed on his feet right there as Peyton tried to go up over the top, but didn't get it up high enough. And right now, the secondary of the Colts are doing something that nobody else in the league has been able to do, and that's at least slow down this passing game.
Very much so, as Britton Colquitt comes in for his 3rd punt. Hilton will call for the fair catch and make it after a kick of only 36 yards, and that's going to put Luck in position near midfield. Well, you look at these Indianapolis Colts, you know, we've heard about rebuilding and retooling, whatever. That's about as fast as it gets. From 2-14, Bill Polian gets fired. They bring in a new coach, Pagano. They bring in Ryan Grigson, by the way, who's a pretty good general manager. They get some free agents. They draft Andrew Luck, and here we are.
Yeah, but you've got to say it always starts with the quarterback position. And when you can find a guy that can immediately come in and both physically and mentally handle the load of being a professional quarterback, pretty rare guy.
And that shot was of Grigson, the general manager, and fighting his way to the 50-yard line is Richardson. Grigson, of course, was the man who affected that trade with Cleveland, which cost Indianapolis its 1st-round draft choice next year, but that could be way down the list if Indy goes as far as they hope they will.
Yeah, but because of the way that they want to play, and it looks like, who's that, Champ?
Bailey, yeah. So Champ, who had missed all of the season until last week, hunched over at the 45. Take a look. He came in with a left foot injury. That's what cost him the first 5 games.
You could see in that sort of penultimate step there right before he got knocked backwards, and he is upset, and that is exactly what it appears, that left foot took a bit of a pressure step, if you can describe it that way. And for Champ Bailey, who was hurt in the 2nd game of preseason, to battle all the way back, the frustration is tremendous on his part.
Yeah, that's 6 or 7 weeks of rehab. You get back, and then you appear to have done it again. Meanwhile, Rogers Cromartie, who was out, comes back in. The ball at the 49 of Denver on 2nd and 2. And Luck going deep and dropped at the 5-yard line. Looking for the flag is Hayward Bay, and he will not get one. Rogers Cromartie with the coverage. 3rd and 2.
Rogers Cromartie probably did get a bit of a hand in there on this one, but Hayward Bay, a very fast guy, and welcome back in. But that is well done. That was about the same position that Darius Hayward Bay had a chance to make a play on last week. Didn't make it. He has had issues with drops over the course of his career.
And if one thing cost the Colts last week's game at San Diego, it was drops. From the 49-yard line on 3rd and 2, and the play clock at 0 as Luck gets the snap and then throws, and it's batted incomplete. Paris Leonard, the middle linebacker, so it's 4th down and 2.
Boy, every once in a while, even an Andrew Luck will throw you a gift, and this one should have been had. Never saw Paris Lennon working across the middle of the field. That's just one you have to make against these great quarterbacks.
And McAfee, nose down, with backspin on it, but it takes a forward bounce, but still great coverage there. Sergio Brown is there to down it at the 2-yard line. Perfect punt by McAfee with 4:04 remaining in the half. All right, the quarterback comparison. Nobody really lighting it up, though. Luck has thrown for 149 yards, which is pretty good going into the half. 10 of 19. Manning with 2 touchdown passes. One to Decker, one to Julius Thomas. And right now it's a 5-point game with 4:04 to go in the half. Moreno is the running back on 1st down from the 2. Looking for some breathing space, and he takes it to the 5-yard line. Tackled by Bethea, 2nd and 7. And that is Angerer who is down on the ground. Pat, number 2 pick out of Iowa in the 2010 draft.
Last week it was Jarrell Freeman that had to go out with a concussion, and that severely hurt this defense a week ago with his man coverage ability. And Angerer the next up. I don't know if we'll see Mario Harvey again or Kelvin Shepard at that position.
Well, Angerer has to come out for at least one play, walking off under his own power. Kelvin Shepard will come in at his spot, at least for the moment. And as play resumes, it'll be 2nd down and 7 from the 5-yard line.
Here comes Robert Mathis again over here on the side of Chris Clark. Same spot on the field.
And now they'll get some protection help. And Moreno will chug his way for a gain of a couple, setting up a 3rd down and 5. Yeah, you see Mathis out there, and you know you got to bring somebody in to help block him.
Well, they want to have Robert Mathis on the open field side. So here he is over here, and there's no help. So what are they going to do? Come over here, so now they can get some help against him. They can basically dictate which side Robert Mathis goes to, and then motion help to that.
3rd and 5. And Manning to the sideline, and it's caught on the run by Moreno for a 1st down. Flag is down. Eric Walden with the coverage on the play. And Pagano saying, call it on Denver. And I think he's going to get his wish. Broncos are already backing up. John Fox has a different reaction.
Number 27, offense. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat 3rd down.
It really wasn't at the point of the catch. It didn't appear. I thought it was earlier than that. Don't really see it there. I think it happened just before that, actually, that he did a little stiff arm right back into Eric Walden.
Now Ronnie Hillman comes in, half the distance to the goal, so it's 3rd down and still a manageable number, 3rd and 8. So 3 receivers off to the right. Fake, and then it's caught, and that'll be Demaryius Thomas who picks up the 1st down. Ball comes down, but he was down. Official coming in to rule down by contact just outside the 20-yard line. And we're ticking down to the 2-minute warning.
Boy, that is points right there. When you come up with a play like that to get you off the goal line and hopefully be able to then control the clock in the final 2 minutes. Very significant play.
And Peyton will let it go to the 2-minute warning. Denver has 2 timeouts on the other side of this break. 19-14 Indianapolis. Two minutes to halftime. 1st and 10. Denver has 2 timeouts. Starting to set it down from the 20. And Manning throwing deep down the left side, and the pass is incomplete. Thomas covered there by Vontae Davis and getting some help as well. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
One of the really difficult parts of playing this team is that you can only help on so many guys. You see Vontae Davis there moving inside, which meant he basically had him all by himself. But so far here at the end of this second quarter, Vontae Davis has been up to the task.
And Manning throws. It's a fluttering pass that's incomplete. Eric Decker was the intended receiver. Freeman covering on the play. Peyton barking at himself, and it's 3rd and 10.
Well, nobody knows that old Peyton Manning drive route any better than the Indianapolis Colts do. And that time they were just sitting there waiting on him to come across the field.
Anger, meanwhile, the linebacker is back in the game. 3rd and 10. Bunch 3 receivers to the left. Julius Thomas stays in the block, and the pass is thrown deep downfield and incomplete. Coverage is outstanding, intended for Demaryius Thomas, and so that was a 16-second 3-and-out.
Yeah, and this is just a one-on-one matchup that they continue to go after. It doesn't matter who's on Demaryius Thomas. If he gets one-on-one, they're going to throw it up to him, but Vontae Davis keeps finding ways to win that battle, and this makeshift secondary that's come from 3 different teams around the league has been getting it done.
Colquitt to punt. And it is a 39-yard boot. T.Y. Hilton with about a 10-yard return to midfield. We go to Michelle.
Well, Champ Bailey questionable with a foot injury. It's that same left foot he injured in that preseason game against the Seahawks that you talked about. Long conversations with the trainer and team doctor, and he's sidelined for the moment, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. It means Kayvon Webster, a rookie out of South Florida, will see some extended time tonight, and the pass is caught at the 45 by Reggie Wayne for a gain of 5.
Very interesting clock management on the part of the Broncos to not work any of that clock off, and now have turned around and given Andrew Luck a chance to put points on the board.
And there may be some clock management on the part of the Colts to not leave Manning any time on the other side as they work it downfield to pick up the 1st down. Donald Brown to the 39-yard line.
I think this team, the Broncos, is just so used to being able to do anything they want and go up and down the field that in this one, when they're getting stuffed a bit with their passing game, I'm not quite sure how to react to that.
And now a timeout is taken here with 66 seconds remaining in the first half. And the Colt secondary, they dressed 10 of them tonight, and they've done the job.
Well, you look at them. Vontae Davis came over from Miami. Greg Toller came over from the Cardinals. Landry came over from the Jets, and they've made it all work. And I think getting Landry back has certainly helped here. He has the speed on the back end to come and make plays sideline to sideline and help cover for some of those one-on-one coverages.
A lot of credit goes to Greg Minuski, the defensive coordinator, who obviously had his hands full all week long preparing for Manning's return. Here's Luck escaping, throwing on the run, caught wide open. Fleener over the middle to the 17. So Fleener, a teammate of Luck's at Stanford, tackled there by Webster, and it's a 1st down after a gain of 21.
Really nice read that time by Kobe Fleener. He felt the underneath coverage, but the minute he turned his back, circled back the other way for the open throw.
Short drop up to the outside. This time it is Fleener again. Gain of only a couple. 32 seconds remaining in the half, and Indy takes its second timeout.
Kobe Fleener on that previous play is going to be working against Trevathan, who's looking at the quarterback, tries to look back at Fleener, and then just sort of circles back. You get the feeling those two guys have done that a few times at Stanford together. It's a big, powerful guy in the pocket. You don't see anything that Andrew Luck does being altered by a few guys grabbing him or a little stroke of the arm, you know, whatever it is. He is 240 pounds a man. And you talk about some of the comparisons, even though a different style of player, Ben Roethlisberger with that sort of strength inside the pocket and the ability to move around. Although Andrew Luck is a fast guy. He's about a 4'7" guy, so he can move.
2nd and 8. Luck. It's caught. Wayne, he's a little bit short of the first down. 3rd down. Want to save that timeout if they can. But it's one of those situations you don't want to spike it, make it 4th down. So he throws it to the right side, picks up the first down and the touchdown. Kobe Fleener. Boy, was that interesting. Clock ticking down, 1 timeout. You can't spike the ball. He gets it all.
It's so Peyton Manning, isn't it? I mean, it just looks like it. Before they could get settled, end up with a safety having to try and come out here and catch this thing. Everybody's thinking he's about to clock it or stop the clock in some way, whatever the case may be. And he's just up, bang, bang, bang. For a second-year player, this guy mentally is pretty amazing.
Vinatieri for the point after. And so after a very fast Denver 3 and out, Colts get the ball with 1:44. It takes them 1:34 to go down the field, and Pagano's team leads by 12 points. Only time Denver has trailed at the half this year was the opening night game, the Thursday night in Denver, when Baltimore led 17-14 at halftime, and before that night was done, Peyton Manning had thrown 7 touchdown passes. Luck perfect on that drive, 8-yard touchdown pass to Fleener. Mentioned he played with him at Stanford. Fleener drafted in the 2nd round last year.
Well, there's no way around this. That was a huge mistake by Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos. They were backed up. Yeah, maybe they could have gone down and gotten a field goal out of it, but at the very least, you have to milk that clock. You can't turn that ball over at the 40, 50-yard line and give Andrew Luck a chance to go the distance. So this close game now has a little space, but with Peyton Manning over there, a little space doesn't always mean very much.
Kickoff 7 yards in. Holiday, always a threat, but this time only to the 20-yard line. It's going to leave Manning with 6 seconds and a probable kneel down, even though Denver will get the ball. They won the opening toss, third, no ball to start the 3rd quarter.
At the very least, you want to force the Colts to take all their timeouts, some sure completions, some screens, whatever the case may be. But those incomplete passes gave the Colts the opportunity to go the other way and get a touchdown.
And those very human numbers for Manning, who's had anything but a human season to this point. So the first half is over. Broncos get the second half kickoff. Indianapolis leads 26-14. Denver will get the ball. Trenton Holiday is back to return it. Holiday, by the way, playing in his 23rd regular season game. Had been with Houston before, and then Denver got him. He's never lost a regular season game. Houston was undefeated last year when they dealt him to Denver, and he hasn't lost a game since Denver comes into this game with a 17-game regular season winning streak. And McAfee will kick off. Meanwhile, the Broncos this season have scored a touchdown on their opening drive of the second half in 5 of their 6 games. So we'll see what Manning has in store here as he'll begin this one from the 20-yard line, and we go to Michelle.
Well, in spite of being down at halftime for just the second time this season, John Fox appeared calm and confident. When I asked him about protecting Manning or some missed defensive assignments, he repeated confidently, "We'll get that fixed." One thing they won't get fixed, Champ Bailey's left foot. He is out for the remainder of the game. As for Chuck Pagano, he said, "We've got to stay aggressive. That team, the Broncos, is too good for us to go in a shell. We simply need to stay after them."
All right, thank you, Michelle. He knows that very well as Manning begins from the pistol and gives the ball to Moreno. Flag is thrown. Got a penalty on the first play of the second half. Carl Sheffer is the referee.
Holding, number 66, offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Manny Ramirez on an auspicious second half beginning for Denver.
Yeah, and it's one of the problems. The interesting part of this thing is that the Colts were actually willing to give up some rushing yards in this game, but so far the Broncos have not been able to take advantage.
Manning to the outside. That'll be caught by Julius Thomas, who scored a touchdown in the first half, gain of 7. The Broncos 265 points through week 6. That's 44 a game, most in the history of the league through 6. 296 by the 2000 Rams, the year after they won the Super Bowl. Single season mark. The 2007 undefeated Patriots, regular season anyway, almost 600. Here's Moreno on a 2nd and long. Stop for just a couple. And Chris, when you look at Denver's rushing tonight, that's 13 rushes for 34 yards, about 2.5 yards per carry.
Yeah, and when you consider the kind of coverage the Colts have been playing with these 2 deep safeties, it's assumed that you may have to give up 100 yards rushing to slow down your passing game, but it hasn't made any difference or any help at all yet with that running game.
3rd down and 12. And Manning's going to go deep, and trying to draw the flag was Decker, but he couldn't. Toller with the coverage on the play. And again, it's 3 and out, including a penalty here.
Well, I told you that these guys are a little grabby, and right up here at the top, here Eric Decker kind of stops when he gets grabbed and wants to try and draw a flag instead of just keep going for the ball. That's the way they're going to play. You know, all that stuff is kind of allowed, and I think if Decker had just focused on trying to make the catch, he still had a chance.
Tried to get the flag and didn't. 4th and 12. And Colquitt with a booming kick that is fielded at the 30-yard line. Fair caught there by T.Y. Hilton. So Luck will take over after a 51-yard punt. And Luck with 199 passing yards in the first half. And again, Denver dead last in pass defense. And of course the sacks take part of the 199 away there. But Luck's on a pace right now for a 400-yard night. He's already thrown 3 touchdown passes.
Yeah, and if you have to say who's winning the quarterback battle so far, it's the younger Colts.
Donald Brown starts as the running back. First down, and they give it to him. Can't get out of his own way. Loss of a couple. Vickerson is there, 2nd down and long.
You know, I know that often you want to try and stick to your game plan, and Peyton Manning's done that over the years. But for the Colts, as much as they want to stay balanced, the weakness of the Denver Broncos defense has been their pass defense. And now you take Champ Bailey out of the mix. You've got young Kayvon Webster in there, a rookie. I don't know. Andrew Luck's hot. I might just let him go.
Pep Hamilton, the offensive coordinator who worked with Luck at Stanford. And took Bruce Arians' spot here when Arians went to Arizona as the head coach. And the pass is thrown behind T.Y. Hilton. So it'll be 3rd down and 12.
Chuck Pagano, of course, came over from Baltimore, and they were excited when he got here, and he started looking around, and Well, they made wholesale changes to try and install that system, but they needed a lot of different players here to make those changes, and they made them in a hurry with Ryan Grigson.
Pagano's pedigree is defense. Hamilton calls the plays, and Luck executes them, and the pass is caught, but short of the first down. T.Y. Hilton making the grab. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie with the tackle. 4th down.
Well, that time we haven't seen a sack yet from Von Miller, but we did get a little pressure here. Going to come back inside on the stunt. And sometimes those little body blows start to at least make you think about it, especially on the backside.
McAfee. Holiday calls for the fair catch as he gets pinned near the sideline at the 16. Couple of minutes into the second half. Indianapolis by a dozen. Denver on such a record-setting offensive pace, and you look at that, the catches through week 6, 4 guys with 30 or more. First team in the history of the league to have 4 players with 30 or more. Manning's completion percentage when throwing to those people. Well, Welker came over from New England, of course. It's 76%, so right up there with everybody. So there is the core 4. But Manning has been limited to 117 passing yards tonight. Moreno is the back, flanking Manning on first down. And the pass is caught by Moreno. Boy, I tell you, throw away those 2 back-to-back passes that led to the first touchdown to Decker that were good for 69 yards, and they've done next to nothing.
Yeah, and the man coverage a huge part of it, and really the inside receivers have to be able to win. Julius Thomas, Wes Welker, those guys are really the key part of this now.
And Moreno, he still can't get on track. To the 21-yard line he goes. They've done a great job bottling him up tonight.
Well, and here's the frustrating part. You've got 2 safeties in the middle of the field. Even a decent running team should be able to make a difference with that. I think it was Antoine Bethea came down and delivered a huge blow. Press coverage across the board. They're just going one-on-one. This is man-on-man. Here we go.
Manning on 3rd and 5. Blitz coming, and he floats one too far. And incomplete, and Robert Mathis came storming in again, and it's 4th down again.
Going to come in and try and run a little pick and get it to the outside. But it was really cleverly done that time by Vontae Davis. He saw the pick coming and fell off on the back. So Peyton Manning once again unable to get it in there.
Already a pair of 3 and outs for the Broncos in the second half. Colquitt's kick. Fair catch call for made at the 29-yard line. 11 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Indianapolis trying to pin Denver with its first loss. Well, the proud father at the moment is not Archie Manning, who's not here, but Oliver Luck, father of Andrew Luck, and a man who backed up Archie with the Houston Oilers. He played for the Oilers for 5 seasons, and Oliver now the athletic director at West Virginia. Here tonight and watching his son go back to pass on first down and complete it for a gain of 7 yards to the tight end Jack Doyle. There is the team photo, the '82 Houston Oilers. Archie and his backup Oliver Luck.
Yeah, and what do you have to do when you're the backup quarterback? You had to drive Archie's kids around. One of them happened to be Peyton Manning, you know. So this whole history, Andrew was saying as they watched TV, his dad would tell that story over and over and over again, and they finally got tired of it.
2nd down and 3 from the 36. And this is Trent Richardson. The Manning family has the passing academy in the offseason, and that's where Andrew Luck first met Peyton and Archie and Eli when he was about, I guess, 10 or 11 years old.
He said he went up to Peyton and said, you know, my dad used to play alongside him. He said every kid in there was trying to have a brief conversation with Peyton Manning, and I was lucky enough, thanks to Dad, I actually did get a few words in.
That one rush tonight for 11 yards was big, keeping a drive alive. 3rd down and 2 here from the 37. And they give it to Richardson on the inside handoff. And Richardson has been with the team now for about a month. Picks up the 1st down.
Well, we see it a lot. Sometimes when the running game doesn't go so well in the first half, is fatigue starts to set in. Things do start happening a little bit better in the second half if you just stay with it.
From the 43. Richardson again. Tell you, Peyton trained this crowd well. They are so quiet when the Colts have the ball. Want to make sure they don't jam any signals.
As long as they've got which quarterback is which straight in their mind.
Right.
Nate Irving going to come off the edge right here, just backdoor this thing coming through. He read the little power play as McGlynn pulled around and got there before the back could. So here's the Broncos' chance. You get a 1st down stop. You need to convert this now.
2nd and 11. And the pass is incomplete, leading Darius Hayward-Bay a little too much. It'll be 3rd and 11.
Well, they tried to set it up with a little fake to quick screen the other way. I haven't seen a slant thrown just like that before, but came back to it and it didn't matter. Raheem Moore was sitting there waiting on it. Need your defense now, if you're Peyton Manning, to come up with one for you. For whatever reason, it has not been a good night on the offensive side, and the defense just has to keep giving you chances.
3rd and 11. Stepping up, buying time, going for it all, and it's flicked away. Intended for T.Y. Hilton, and at the very last second, it looked like Rogers Cromartie might have gotten a fingertip on it.
Dominic Rogers Cromartie, sometimes you're going to get in these moments. It's just one-on-one, and here you go. He knew it was a foot race with a very fast receiver in T.Y. Hilton. Couldn't tell. Looks like he did get a finger on that one.
Yep.
Just the fingernail maybe to knock it away.
Saved by a manicure. Holiday back to receive the punt. But first, that an illegal procedure penalty coming up.
False start, number 54 offense. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
And it's Mario Harvey.
One more look here. Just enough to alter it a bit. T.Y. Hilton had the huge game against Seattle. A couple of touchdowns, really took over in that one.
And McAfee's kick. Gets Holiday moving to the sideline where he loses the ball. He already lost one earlier, and it's all he can do now to just keep possession inside his own 10-yard line. Tough night for Holiday. Tough night for the Broncos at this point. And Denver starts here with a 3-yard run by Ronnie Hillman, reprising the Julie Andrews role.
No doubt about it. It's good to have a superstar on our team, though, isn't it?
Tell me about it.
She has been a fantastic addition for NBC, and we love Faith, but Carrie's been fantastic.
2nd and 6. Manning to the outside and tipped away by Darius Butler. Butler slow in getting up. Pass incomplete, intended for Welker, and Butler will need a moment.
Well, Darius Butler against Wes Welker has just been getting it done, whether it was the fact that he played with him in the Patriots or not. But his greatest asset has been his ball skills. And what we've seen is that when Ryan Grigson, well, they're still working on him over there, right?
Yeah, that's So Butler, and again, they dressed 10 defensive backs tonight. Delano Howell is out of the game, so and won't return, so they're down to 9. And an injury timeout here for Butler. The Broncos drives without a first down, averaging 3 per game this season, 7 tonight. On the cusp of maybe an 8th on 3rd and 6. Josh Gordy comes in to take Darius Butler's spot. And Manning out of the pistol will swing it to the outside to Moreno, and he will not be able to get to the 20-yard line. He stops short of the first down. So again, that defense does its work. Manning has been limited to 124 yards on 22 throws, and they'll punt again.
This looks like a Troy Polamalu play right here. LaRon Landry's so fast. I told you there'd be certain points in the game where you'd see a blur run across your screen. That time, no Sean Marino may or may not have seen it, but they get off the field for the Indianapolis Colts.
Britton Colquitt, who's had a pretty easy year playing with this offense, all of a sudden tonight in action too much for his taste. This is his 7th punt. Fielded at the 30-yard line by T.Y. Hilton, who runs the ball back to the 43. And again, pretty good field position for Luck and company. Meanwhile, there was a personal foul on Denver at the end of that play. So Luck will have even better field position. After the march off, will take the ball to the Denver 41-yard line. So with 6:49 to go in the 3rd. Luck under center with Richardson as the running back. And Richardson to the 39-yard line. That personal foul was on Virgil Green after the run back, so that cost him 15. This makes it 2nd down and 8 now at the 39-yard line. And here it is, the personal foul, bottom right of the screen, and there it is, the headbutt. And that's sure to draw the laundry.
Nice job by Andy Studebaker, basically just standing there with his hands in front of him. It's impossible to call that one the other way.
2nd and 8. Luck under pressure, slings it to Wayne. Just a bullet to the 28-yard line. And Sean Phillips came in that time. There's another flag. Phillips really gave it to Luck at the end of the play. Sheffers
There was a little
to make
something
the call here, yeah.
extra going on there as well. It looked like Vickerson got his helmet knocked off. Don't know exactly what happened with that, but that was a cannon shot from Andrew Luck.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 99 defense. For removing his helmet, 15 yards will be added to the end of the play. First down.
Yeah, that's Vickerson. And in a game they're trailing by 12, they've now had 2 major penalties assessed in the last couple of plays.
Andrew Luck really loads up on this fastball and zips it right in. Reggie Wayne, as he so often does, goes up and gets it. I think it was Samson Satelli that was working on Kevin Vickerson, and when he was down on the ground, sort of drove him in to the ground a little bit more. Vickerson got upset, and that's what drew the foul.
Luck now sets up at the 14-yard line, under 6 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter.
Well, this is just starting, isn't it?
Well, yeah. The extent to which Indy's dominating, and right now Luck will take a timeout. Timeout with the Colts up by 12. John Elway, who's done a masterful job running football operations for the Broncos, helping construct this team. Clearly hugely instrumental in bringing Manning to Denver, but right now watching his team trailing 26-14. And the Colts have a first down at the 14-yard line. And Luck with time again, and that will be a gain of 4 yards to Kobe Fleener to the 10-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 6. And Andrew Luck's night tonight.
No, it's been fantastic. Started out with a little seam route to Darius Hayward-Bay. 3rd and 11. I thought this was one of the plays of the game so far. Just willed his way to this first down, diving over the top for that one. And then at the end of the half, a very creative drive put his team well in front.
2nd and 6, flushed out. He can run, as you know, all the way to the end zone. Dad salutes him. He had a big 11-yard run for a first down earlier. Takes this one into the end zone for an 11-yard touchdown.
Little coming out party for a guy that doesn't need one, but anytime you're matched up against Peyton Manning and you're outplaying him to this level, it is an eye-opener.
That is 8 touchdown runs in a year and 6.5 games for Andrew Luck. Vinatieri with a point after, and the Colts are up 33-14.
They're trying to bring some pressure here, but it cost them on contain. So once Luck gets to the outside, they've got man coverage, and then Reggie Wayne with a little butt block down the field against Cromartie to get Luck into the end zone. Watch Reggie here on the tail end of this thing. Just going to do the old basketball screen, keep him off my quarterback. And Papa loves it.
Most TD runs by a quarterback, and of course the other two guys would figure since 2012. Meanwhile, we've got flags down during the timeout. You got Cam Newton with 10, Griffin 7. Sadelli got hurt on the extra point. He was already out of the game earlier. And clearly distressed as he goes to the bench here. Luck with the touchdown. And with the teams along the sidelines, the flag, or a couple of flags, actually got thrown.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 94 and number 99, for removing their helmets. One of those 15-yard penalties will be enforced on the kickoff.
That's Terrence Knight and Kevin Vickerson both. So the Broncos right now kind of coming apart at the seams.
Well, that's one thing that you know about this Colts team. They typically don't beat themselves. Came in with the lowest number of giveaways, tied for that number, and also a team that very rarely gets penalties. So they are under control, and right now, as you talked about, unraveling a bit for the Denver Broncos.
Satelli getting hurt again.
Nothing more frustrating than you saying the guy twisted my leg.
Yep.
Remember, that was, I think that was Kevin Vickerson over him, who had a bit of an issue earlier in that drive. And so maybe there was a little payback on the extra point.
And then took his helmet off. It cost him yardage on the kickoff here, which goes through the end zone. All three Denver drives in this half tonight have been 3 and out. This team right now, they've had 8 3 and outs in the game total. Their last 8 possessions look like that. And that looks like anything with the Denver Broncos.
Well, and the other thing that's being done here tonight is a bit of a blueprint for playing against Peyton Manning.
Oh, yeah.
You know, this, not that this is new by any means, but the effectiveness of it has been surprising.
5 minutes left in the quarter, and Manning's going to get sacked. The flag goes down as Mathis comes in. Already had the sack fumble, which resulted in a safety. Jeffers is going to call it holding on Denver.
Number 75, offense. That penalty's declined. Second.
Chris Clark, the left tackle.
Always a little surprised when you don't see help against Robert Mathis. Chris Clark tried to go with a quick set that time where he jumped out on him, but Mathis just used that leverage, got down low, turned that corner as we've seen him do in the past. Last week, the only week he didn't get a sack, and he's making up for it tonight.
That last graphic got Michael Strahan's attention. 11 and a half in less than 7 games. He's on a record pace. Manning throws, and the pass a little low, but going down to the ground is Wes Welker, who makes only his second catch of the night to quiet the crowd, at least momentarily.
Yeah, and I think that was against Josh Gordy, and Josh Gordy is shaken up on the play, and we've already seen Darius Butler go out of the game. So maybe now that some of these man coverage guys are getting banged up a bit, that Peyton Manning can finally find somebody open.
Gordy came over in a trade with St. Louis. I'll tell you that Ryan Grigson gets free agents. They make trades. In the NFL, there are so few trades. But the Colts have been able to make some swaps along the way here. Of course, they picked up Trent Richardson earlier this year from Cleveland, and the most notable. Here is the coverage on the last play.
And Wes Welker was having a tough time all night getting away from Darius Butler. A little easier time there. Really should have been pass interference as well. But when you are a man coverage team and now you're down a couple of slot corners, and remember the slot cornerback position is the toughest of all, and Darius Butler has come in and done a remarkable job. They said since the first day he got here, they hadn't been getting their hands on any balls in practice, nothing, and Butler intercepted 2 passes his first day. And Ryan Grigson, before he took over, basically told him, listen, this is your last shot. You know, you were a high ground draft pick, but nobody's going to watch you if you can't make this Colts team. And Butler ended up making nothing but plays for him.
Sergio Brown comes in defensively on first down. Now Manning will throw it down the sideline, and Decker gets tangled up with Vaughn. And there is a flag down at the 47-yard line. They're going to call this one on the Colts.
Well, we talked about it all night, just how physical these Colt corners are.
Pass interference, number 32 defense, automatic, first down.
Here's Cassius Vaughn right there. He's going to try and just get himself in front of it. And you can see they've kind of been knocking around like that all night. Sometimes you get the call, sometimes you don't. Decker gave up on a ball earlier. Cassius Vaughn, pretty good coverage there.
22-yard penalty, and now Hillman dives to the 31-yard line.
Well, you know, Ronnie Hillman's a guy that may actually help this team a little bit right now. If you've kind of gotten to the point where you're going to abandon trying to run it, Hillman is that blur out of the backfield that could win some of these one-on-one battles against the linebacker.
Well, he'd get to play a lot more if he didn't have fumbling issues. And this time he goes to the right side and gains 8 yards, taking the ball to the 23-yard line. So 3.5 to go in the third quarter. Second down and 2. Adam Gase getting the play call in as quickly as anybody in the league because Peyton needs it immediately.
Well, yeah, and part of the trick of running this no-huddle offense is getting at least 1 first down and getting that momentum going, which the Broncos have not been able to do.
And Manning on a 2nd and 2. Throws, that's caught by Thomas. That'll be a first down. Freeman making the tackle.
Well, there aren't many people that Julius Thomas can't run away from, but Jarrell Freeman is one of those guys. That guy coming over from Canada has been a huge addition for this team. You can't play man coverage across the board unless you have a linebacker that can cover a back or a tight end, and that guy's one of the best in the league.
After all those 3 and outs, Denver now with 4 first downs on this drive. And it's caught, and spinning away is Wes Welker. And he turns what would have been about a 5-yard gain into a first down and a gain of 11.
Yeah, and look what's happened. Antoine Bethea, the safety, now having to take Wes Welker because of the fact they've got their 2 corners hurt. So those injuries now starting to take a toll, and Peyton Manning starting to target Wes Welker again. Now Butler back in the game.
Moreno next to Manning on 1st and goal, and we've got a whistle before the snap.
False start, number 65, offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
That's Vasquez, Louis Vasquez, the right tackle.
I'll tell you, though, I would go right after Darius Butler. Whatever it was that took him out of the game, it looked like he was massaging the back of his calf, which means a cramp sometimes. I don't know for sure. But I would make sure he was 100% with Wes Welker on a few plays in a row.
Yeah, he has Welker right here on 1st and goal from the 11-yard line. And Manning will throw to the right side of the end zone, and that'll be caught, we believe. No! Decker says, I did catch it, and I was in bounds, but the official is right there. Cassius Vaughn with the coverage, incomplete, 2nd down.
Yeah, he did catch it, but he didn't maintain control going to the ground. He wasn't knocked off his feet. There he goes inside the pylon. But going to the ground, you have to maintain control. And I think probably cost himself a touchdown by reaching out with the ball there, because then when he hit the ground, he couldn't keep it in his hands.
He hit the pylon as well on the way to the ground at 2nd down and goal. Bunch 3 receivers to the left. And the play clock goes all the way to 0. And you got to delay a game. And I think Manning was saying that they didn't reset the clock properly after the last play. That's why he put his hand in the air. Shepard said we did. And you're going to have 2nd down and goal now from the 16 when it was 1st and goal from the 6. Thomas, but he gets tackled immediately at the 13-yard line by Vontae Davis. 3rd and goal.
Vontae Davis deserves to dance a little bit out here in this ball game. But we have seen the Broncos really sort of shoot themselves on this drive. Decker should have had the touchdown. They've had issues with penalties. Nothing like we've seen from the Broncos this year.
3rd and goal. Manning to the end zone and out of the end zone for Bethea. So they can make it a 2-possession game with a field goal. They're going to send the unit in here. There are 2-possession games where you trail by 14. And there are 2-possession games where you need 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions, and that will be the case if the kick here is good.
You know, there probably would be a few teams out there that would say, you know, all right, we might have to go for a touchdown here. But when you have Peyton Manning and the history of what this offense has done through the first 6 games, better than anybody we've ever seen, you have a little faith.
Prater's been perfect this season. He's 10 out of 10 now as he kicks a 31-yard field goal. And that makes the score 33-17. AFC West, Kansas City wins today. Houston gave them a handful, but KC is 7-0. Now Denver 6-0 coming in tonight. San Diego wins today at Jacksonville. Oakland 2-4.
Go figure what's going on with Kansas City out there, huh? From 2 wins last year to undefeated. And now the Colts the year before went from 2 wins to the playoffs.
Colts trying to go to 5-2. Tennessee loses to San Francisco today. Texans 2-5, and the Jaguars are 0-7. And as we mentioned earlier, since Pagano took over, and Arians, of course, last year running when Chuck was getting well and Luck came in here, this team has not lost 2 games in a row. They were 11-5 last year, going to the playoffs and losing to Baltimore, and Cassius Vaughn will down it in the end zone. And we go to Michelle.
Well, starting center Samson Sattelli is questionable with a right knee. Right now he's sitting on the bench, and you saw Andrew Luck taking some practice snaps with Mike McGlynn, who's going in at center. When the Colts get back on defense, Greg Toller is questionable with a groin, as is Josh Gordy with a groin. So a lot going on injury-wise on this Colts sideline, guys.
All right, thank you, Michelle. They're down to 7 defensive backs right now, are the Colts, because Howell went out earlier. Meanwhile, there's Sattelli. He was out earlier. We mentioned he missed a couple of games, and McGlynn went from guard to center. and McGlynn will do the snapping here with Brown as the running back. And a roll to the right, and Luck is going to take off again, and this will be a 9-yard run. So he's had runs of 11, 11, and at least they're holding him to 9 now.
Well, he finally found something that Andrew Luck can't do. He can't slide. That was downright ugly there. In the first half, he went head first when he had to have it, but on first down, I'll take a 2nd and 1. That's no problem. Good aggressive play calling, though, by Pep Hamilton. I think everybody's sitting there starting to think, okay, they're going to try and burn a little clock, go right to the bootleg, and it's wide open for Luck.
And that'll take us to the 4th quarter. End of 3. Indianapolis 33. Denver 17. And Sunday Night Football continues after these messages. Sal Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya, Sunday Night Football. Manning coming back to Indiana, but it's been Luck's night tonight. To this point, 33-17. Colts by 16, 2nd and 1 as we start the final quarter. And this is Richardson fighting his way across the 30 to move the chains. Longest winning streaks in NFL history. The Colts with 23 in the regular season. It's the last 9 games of Tony Dungy's reign here and the first 14 of Jim Caldwell's. The Patriots then had 2nd and 3rd longest streaks. The Broncos right now tied with the Bears from 70 years ago with 17, and that of course is in jeopardy. And there's the salute to Tony, who coached here from 02 through 08. And they'll run it with Hayward big on the end around, and off he goes down the sideline and finally spun down at the end. Iheanacho is able to make the tackle, and he's needing some assistance in getting up after a gain of 30 yards.
Now you see why Al Davis drafted this guy so high. Pure speed that Al Davis always loved, but when he opens it up, going down the field, another nice block there by Reggie Wayne. That one almost broke out.
Baylor Bay out of Maryland, 5th year in the league. Luck going deep for Hilton, and good position that time by Kayvon Webster, who got inside of him and made sure the ball never got there. 2nd and 10.
I tell you, this Kayvon Webster has really made a name for himself over the past 2 or 3 weeks. Tony Carter had been sort of that other defensive back, but for the last 2 or 3 weeks, this guy's been one of the best players on the field. And he talked about it, say, hey, this is a production business we've got going for us, Jack Del Rio will tell you. So whoever's playing the best gets to play, and that right now is Kayvon Webster.
3rd round last year, South Florida, 2nd down and 10 from the 39-yard line. Brown, some room. To the 34-yard line goes Donald Brown, gain of 5, 3rd and 5.
I'll tell you something else that's happening here, at least from the Colts standpoint. Donald Brown is getting the majority of these snaps, or it seems like it, on 1st and 2nd down, and Trent Richardson's sort of been the short yardage guy.
Brown 7 carries tonight. Richardson has 11. There's your running game right there. Luck, 3 carries to 30 yards and a touchdown. And Luck has that one deflected in the air and incomplete. Batted. Malik Jackson got a hand on it, and it will be 4th down, and they're going to bring in Vinatieri. The 40-year-old Adam Vinatieri coming in for a long field goal attempt.
Von Miller with that old patented spin move almost got inside, but that was Malik Jackson making another play. He made quite a few last week and got the game ball.
Last week in San Diego, first game of his career, 2 50-yard or more field goals. This is from 52 away. Vinatieri. There is the fountain of youth. We got to go on his diet.
Wow.
36-17. Peyton wanted to make something perfectly clear. One of Jim Irsay's comments last week dealt with the fact that Peyton had told him to draft Andrew Luck. Well, Peyton said, I only told him that after I knew I was going to get released. And he asked me, who would you draft, Luck or Robert Griffin? He said he would draft Luck. And he wanted to make that clear. He said, you know, Irsay made it seem as if that was in December. It was not. It was after Peyton already knew that they weren't going to pay the bonus and they were going to release him.
Yeah, that it was somehow a part of the decision whether or not they were going to release him based on which quarterback he liked, and that wasn't the case according to Peyton.
According to Peyton, he said the only guy I ever told him to draft was me.
Not a bad night for Jim Irsay so far tonight. I'm sure after all the press coverage he got this week, to see this football team respond this way has been an enjoyable night.
So 13 minutes to go, and Manning will start under pressure, escaping from the pocket, going deep downfield, tipped and juggled and caught at the 30-yard line by Eric Decker. So he had Cassius Vaughn right with him, a juggling act, but he makes the catch for a big gain.
Looked like Cassius Vaughn jumped just a little too soon, ended up on the way down trying to make a play, and it ended up going over his head. Good job by Decker keeping his focus. So at least we're starting to see this Broncos offense show signs of what we've seen.
49-yard gain. Manning, and that one is busted up. Getting good position on Thomas was Vontae Davis. 2nd and 10.
Vontae comes up limping a little bit. Who's had a better game than Vontae Davis? This has been the #1 matchup of the night. Demaryius Thomas, he gets one-on-one coverage. We're going at him, right? Every time. And now Vontae Davis is down. It has been a rough night on this secondary.
Brother of the 49ers tight end, Vernon, came over from Miami. Another one of those deals affected by the new hierarchy here.
Well, you know, they knew what they wanted to be as a defense. They wanted to be a pressure defense. They wanted to get in your face and play man-to-man, and they didn't feel like they had the guys to be able to do that. So Greg Minuski and Ryan Grigson got together. They hand-selected 3 new guys from 3 different teams, and by golly, it's working.
2nd and 10 from the 31.
Antoine Bethea covering the slot again.
Manning stepping up to buy time, throws a floater to the end zone, and it's caught by Demaryius Thomas for the touchdown. A wobbly duck going to the end zone and a little underthrown, but Thomas is able to get there. 31 yards and a touchdown. And Fox says, let's go for 2.
No, LaRon Landry's just going to get turned around on this when they go inside here. And Landry just a stutter step too late and unable to get back. But let's give Peyton Manning some credit. His movement within that pocket, stepping up and through, is what gave Thomas enough time to make that second move in there.
Going for 2 to try to make it an 11-point game, unless they would need a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and a field goal. And Manning with the play clock at 4. Off the fake, throwing for 2, and it's juggled and incomplete. So that keeps it a 12-point game. Thomas could not hang on. Tune out at your own peril. 12-11 to go. 36-23. Remaining in the 4th. 13-point lead for the Indianapolis Colts. And the Colts just to guard against an onside kick, a line like that. Way too early to go in that direction. T.Y. Hilton is back to receive the kickoff. And he'll let that one just go through the end zone. Numbers for these guys now. Peyton has thrown for 242. Luck with 229 and 3 runs for 30 yards. Richardson is the running back from the 20 on first down. To the outside, and great coverage right there because that's Rogers Cromartie tackling Hayward Bay, and we go to Michelle.
Couple of updates on the Colts injury. Samson Satelli, their starting center, has been downgraded. He's officially out with that right knee, as is cornerback Josh Gordy out with a groin. So 2 more down.
All right, thank you, Michelle. And there is Satelli, who was out earlier, came back, got hurt again on a conversion attempt. And there's Gordy. And at the line of scrimmage now, it's 2nd down and 11. Richardson, and he can't get free, gets gang tackled, but he's able to lunge forward. The ball comes out. The ball is loose. Iheanacho comes up with the football, but the question is
They're
now.
saying Broncos football.
They're saying that he was knocked down
and that
and
player
a
was down by
huge
contact.
turnover.
First down.
What'd you say? Go away at your own peril?
Yeah.
You've seen Peyton Manning before, haven't you? Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Clearly out. Duke Iheanacho, what a story he has been for this team. Came out of absolute nowhere to not only make the starting lineup, but to end up being a star on this team, and he hasn't made a bigger play than that. John Fox knows that was the break they needed.
Rips it out. And now Manning goes to work from the 23-yard line after the Richardson fumble. Vontae Davis back in. From the 23-yard line with 11:26 left in the 4th. And Manning going for 6. And incomplete. Intended for Demaryius Thomas. Covered by Cassius Vaughn. 2nd and 10.
Well, Peyton Manning hasn't been hit very much at all this season. About 20% of the time is about the only time he gets contacted. But let's say this, the Colts have done better than that. Up here's Robert Mathis again. No help whatsoever for Chris Clark outside of him.
They go empty on 2nd down and 10. Play clock at 4. And Mathis gets to him, but a little too late. And Thomas makes the catch and takes the ball to the 15-yard line, where Davis makes the tackle.
I don't think anybody's better than Peyton Manning at this. He knows as well as anybody that Mathis is going to beat Chris Clark. So he threw that ball in about 1.5 seconds, which is all the time he had.
3rd down 2.
4-down territory.
Yeah, I think so too. And now we're going to make sure it's 4-down territory because Noshawn Moreno gets tackled. So they have the ball at the 14. You still have a ton of time left. But do you want to make it 36-26? Or do you go for it? And they're going to go for it.
You can't assume you're going to shut out the Colts offense, especially with the way Luck has been playing.
I do too. 4th and 1 from the 14. Manning rolling, throwing, and it's Welker who reaches behind him to make the catch at the 12-yard line. Darius Butler makes the tackle and a 1st down.
You didn't flash back to another time we were here doing the Super Bowl and that back shoulder throw. A lot of pick action in here. They're going to move inside and out, but nothing blatant. That time Darius Butler ran over the top and gave Peyton Manning just enough room.
Brady's throwing the Super Bowl was an easier catch than that one. The ball at the 12-yard line. Manning throwing. Caught inside the 10. Decker gets spilled immediately after a gain of 4. Sacked twice, including that sack fumble led to a safety. 5 hits, 4 knockdowns. Right now 2nd and 6 at the 8. Manning pressured again, throws, and Welker can't make the grab. Coverage is very tight by Butler. 3rd and 6.
Pressure coming up right there from Ricky Jean-Francois. But I tell you, Darius Butler, we've seen him draped all over Wes Welker all night long. Winnie's been in there.
From the 8.
Big play.
Manning throws, caught, and taken to the 1-yard line. Decker loses his helmet, but moves the change, gets the first down, just short of the touchdown. 1st and goal.
So this time they use the pick the other way. So now they're going to pick for the outside guy and put it down on the 1-yard line.
So Decker goes out, takes his helmet with him. Andre Caldwell comes in. You got Moreno in the backfield. They give it to Noshawn Moreno. He plugs ahead, and he's in for the touchdown. Noshawn Moreno takes it just across the goal line. And Iheanacho sets it up with the fumble, creates the fumble, gives Manning the ball deep in Indy territory, and right now it's a 7-point game going on 6.
3rd and 6. Peyton gave the signal on the outside, and you can see Cassius Vaughn hesitated just enough on the pick. So many teams screw up those pick plays because they feel like they have to sort of make contact on the picks. The Broncos much more sophisticated than that. They get in the way, but they don't necessarily make contact, so they don't get the fouls that other teams get.
Prater for the extra point. And Indianapolis's lead is now 36-30. Set up by that pull away by the Duke. Well, 36-30 in a wild one with a ton of time, 8:44 to go. And again, Indy was guarding against the onside kick, so Hilton is back there by himself to down it.
No Trent Richardson in there either. Donald Brown in.
And Luck on first down gets hit as he throws, and a flag comes down as you've got Brown, who gets hit by Paris Lennon. Luck also took a shot on the play.
Prior to the pass, holding, number 51 defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Andrew thought he was going to get the completion anyway. He bounces it off of Donald Brown's head. So even though he fell to the ground, he still tried to get the completion. He's going to take a shot from Trevathan. But I'm telling you, Luck still thought he could get that one in there.
He's been batted around tonight, as has Peyton. The ball is at the 25-yard line, first down. And Brown, pretty good cutback move there to pick up 7 yards. Iheanacho making the tackle. It'll make it, let's call it 6, 2nd and 4.
Well, Mike McGlynn, you can't underestimate his value in this game to be able to go in and replace the center. It's not like he's moving from guard to guard or guard to tackle. You go inside and have to replace the center, everything changes. You're making all the calls, and he's been pretty good.
Brown on a 2nd and 4 is going to come up short. Paris Lennon making the tackle. And a lot of time left. It's a pretty big 3rd and 1 right here.
You know, sometimes you just need a first down or two to shift the momentum a bit. You know, just you don't want the Peyton Manning getting the ball back again. You already got it back on the fumble, and then boom, boom, 2 touchdowns in a row, and here you go. And you hope your offense here can just kind of keep it on track.
Give your defense a little bit more space and breathing time. And they're going to go to the air, and Luck's going to get the ball away, and then it's dropped. Reggie Wayne couldn't hold on. Low throw, Wayne reaching for his knee and rolling around, and now Reggie Wayne is down.
And Reggie Wayne's a guy that never gets hurt. Immediate pressure inside. Here's Reggie. They got him all picked off there, and there was nobody on the back end of that field, and you get the double whammy. Couldn't see who it was that ended up getting the, should have known, Trevathan in there getting the pressure, and look at Luck grabbing his head afterwards going, oh my gosh, this is a walk-in touchdown. And Reggie Wayne, oh my goodness, looks like he may have,
the double whammy.
Double whammy for sure.
Wayne gets hurt. Very interesting play call. You look at Marvin Harrison, who was on so many ends of passes from Peyton Manning. So it's going to be 4th down and 1. And the crowd begins a Reggie chant. 13 years in the league, and for so many of those years overshadowed by Harrison. They had Dallas Clark here as well. Peyton was doing his thing. The team had so much success, and Reggie finally getting his due in the latter stages of his career. Went over 1,000 catches for his illustrious career last week.
Well, you think of all the things that happened on that play. 3rd and 1. You go play action, you get Reggie Wayne wide open down the field. You miss the throw and potentially lose Reggie Wayne in the process.
And then as you look at it again, what happens to Reggie going down, and at least he gets up right now and offers some assistance. You know, you wonder if they had a better running game tonight. Maybe you've got Richardson in there on 3rd and 1. Maybe you go to Richardson, but they don't even have him in the game right now.
Well, they can't after the fumble. They didn't trust him. And so you go back to the fumble and how it may have impacted that play. Boy, here we go. It's sure, you know, we were trying to encourage people to hang in there with this game, but
shameless promo.
Peyton Manning, you know, it just never goes away. The people in Tampa will remember forever that game was down, what, 21 in that one, and came back in the last few minutes of that game.
About 4 minutes to go on a Monday night. McAfee setting up for his 8th punt. He's had some homers tonight, the long of 60. And this one, another good one, fair catch called for by Holiday. So Mr. Manning will go to work with his group from the 15-yard line. 7:07 left. (36-30) Indianapolis. 3 wins after trailing by 17 or more in the 4th quarter, including a spectacular come-from-behind win in 2003 for Indianapolis against Tampa Bay. And Manning will start with a play fake under pressure and then throws an interception into the hands of Pat Angerer. So Manning had trouble. Well, his flag is down. Manning had trouble getting away. Gets contacted. For the moment, it's the interception.
There's no foul in the play for offensive holding. The result of the play is an interception. 1st and 10, Indianapolis.
Eric Walden put the pressure on. He put the heat on and created it.
I told you earlier in the game, Julius Thomas, not very effective as a blocker. Excellent receiver this time. A big assignment for him, Eric Walden, and it may be a game changer. Well, you finally get Robert Mathis blocked on the other side, and it's Walden from the front side. Don't think I would leave Thomas alone blocking one-on-one very much.
Took care of the tight end, and now Luck at the 20-yard line. 1 second under 7 minutes to play in regulation. And Brown can go nowhere. Kevin Vickerson stops him in his tracks, and Wayne goes back to the locker room.
Talking about a guy that shows up for work every single day. Not used to seeing that.
Wayne playing in 189 consecutive games. They do have a week off next week. They have their bye week, and then resume playing 2 weeks at Houston on a Sunday night. 2nd and 13. And Luck will throw to the corner and not caught. Not caught by Hayward Bay. He was there, reached for it. Webster covering. It'll be 3rd and 13.
Well, according to Reggie Wayne, nobody spends more time on catching balls off the jugs machine than Darius Hayward Bay. He works hard at his craft, but unable to reel that one in. And the last couple of weeks, he's had a chance to make about 3 really good catches, all of them catchable, and he hasn't come up with any of those game-changing kind of plays.
3rd and 13. They're in field goal range, but want more. Here's Luck running away and then just throws it incomplete. So you're going to bring Vinatieri in right now for what will be about a 42-yard field goal attempt to make it a 2-possession game.
Well, this Broncos defense, they know who they have playing quarterback as well. So they had to come up with a stop. They do come up with a stop. And now you have to hope for something that doesn't happen very often. This guy to miss. He hasn't missed inside of 50 for quite some time.
Matt Overton will snap it. Pat McAfee will hold it. A 42-yard attempt. And the 40-year-old Vinatieri bangs this one right through. So they are able to cash in at least for 3 off the turnover to keep it to a 9-point lead, 39-30. And let's go to Michelle.
Well, you guys saw Reggie Wayne heading back to the locker room. He is done for the night with a knee sprain. Will not return. As he walked back, not sure if you guys could see it, tears in his eyes. There was so much frustration from him on the bench, hitting the bench with his hand, having different guys, team doctor Arthur Reddick come to him, Dave Hammer, their head trainer, Andrew Luck sitting with him, all trying to console him, but he was inconsolable, Al.
And we just see him right there, Michelle, going back into the locker room, an Iron Man. Hard worker, and again, the only good news for Reggie would be a week off, the bye week, and they resume play at Houston in 2 weeks. Most consecutive games for wide receivers. Tim Brown at 199, Harold Jackson, the old Eagle at 190, and Reggie with that 189, and hopefully still going. McAfee to kick off. And you've got Trindon Holiday. He's going to come out from 4 yards in, trying to get around the corner and cannot. Really good coverage tonight against a guy who is very capable of that spectacular run back, as he's proven over the past couple of years.
And Peyton Manning telling us that he never raises the shade as they're landing coming into a city. But coming into Indianapolis, it was just different. He raised the shade, he took a look around at what used to be his home, and you know he would like nothing better than to put together one of those Peyton Manning kind of comebacks at the end of this one.
I think a lot more fun looking out the window on takeoff tonight, going back to Denver. From the 15, Manning gets sacked at the 8-yard line. Couldn't get away. Francois was the first guy in, and then Freeman finishes him off.
You get so used to Jarrell Freeman going in coverage that when he blitzes, it's a little bit unexpected, and yet he does have several sacks on the year. Sometimes you have guys that are so good at doing both, you don't know whether to blitz them or play them in coverage.
2nd and 17 to the outside, and it's Eric Decker making the catch. But Vontae Davis is right there, setting up a pick again, but Davis would have none of it.
Well, here's my MVP of the night right here, Vontae Davis. You think Welker's going to be able to pick him off. He saw it the whole way. And now you're down to 3rd and long, backed up.
3rd and 17. A lot of pressure seconds are ticking away right here. As Manning will throw, and it is caught by Welker at the 33-yard line. Tremendous catch.
Oh, what a catch. I don't think he ever even saw this ball until he just digs his way out of there and just, oh man, how did he make that catch? That's awesome.
24 yards on a 3rd and 16, and now that pass will be caught at the 40-yard line of Indy by Demaryius Thomas. A catch by Welker, man, a penny for Tom Brady's thoughts right now.
Oh my gosh.
Gain of 27, 4 minutes to go. First down. And that's incomplete. Decker coming on a slant. Davis is right there. Back to Welker's catch.
He had to work so hard to get over the top of Darius Butler, and then the ball was on him, and just, boy, that's an easy ball to drop right there. He has made some sensational catches tonight.
2nd and 10. And over the middle, Welker again. That'll be a first down. Takes it to the 26-yard line. 6 catches tonight, 71 yards.
I love that one. Wes Welker went out like he was going to do one of those picks or wheels, came back inside to get the opening.
3.5 left. And that will be caught by Welker again. What a show he is putting on. Butler saves the touchdown, but the ball will be at the 2-yard line.
They set that up with the previous play because last time he went out and then back in. This time he just goes out, they get the pick on the outside, and Peyton Manning's on a roll.
At the 2, 1st and goal. Hillman, he gets swallowed up short of the line of scrimmage. He's 2nd down and goal.
There's a lot of looking around here now. I'm not sure. LaRon Landry says that thing is ours. Peyton Manning said, let's get to the line of scrimmage here, guys, before they start looking at this.
We don't need any look-see at this.
Chuck Pagano with his hand on the flag.
Ball is out. Who comes up with it is the question. Well, it looks like it may have been a Bronco that recovered it. You got to have a clear recovery. So it's one thing to win the challenge with a fumble. It's another thing to make sure that you recover the fumble, and that has to be clearly demonstrated.
But I think they said it was Colts ball on the field.
They're ruling it Colts ball on the field, which would mean, if that's the case, and again, we talked about Hillman before, and one of the problems, it's been the problem, putting the ball on the ground.
76 reports as eligible. 76 is eligible.
Now they're going to rule it. They ruled it.
The ball is out. There's no doubt about that.
It's ruled a fumble. So the challenge would have to come from Fox, and since it's not clear, there's no challenge, and Indy gets the ball at the 3-yard line.
And you don't want to give up those timeouts.
No, you don't. And chugging forward is Havili, because now you have to start using those timeouts. Under 3 to go, and Fox will use his first timeout right here.
It was kind of interesting on that fumble that you could see that Hillman, if he could have just rolled over a bit, he kind of had the ball pinned against his side, but it was against his body. There we go, the ball's out, no doubt about it. Now Hillman's right there, and he's got his hand on it right there. And he kind of has it pinned into his body. You could almost make the case that he was down at that point and he had control, but there the ball slips a little bit and moves and ultimately comes out. That would have been an interesting challenge.
Antoine Bethea wound up with the football. So it's 2nd down and 8. You've got 2 timeouts remaining for Denver, plus the clock stoppage of 2 minutes. And that pass is high, and that's a big favor for Denver. That's a huge favor for Denver.
But there's a flag down.
Flag down in the end zone.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 99, defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Vickerson. That is a killer.
I don't think Vickerson was even close to him in the back of the end zone. Ball's out. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, he's saying, you've got to be kidding me.
Right.
You know, that's just the big man bumping into the quarterback. I just don't like that one.
Another personal foul on Vickerson. It is 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. Trent Richardson back in the game. And of course, it was his fumble that gave Denver major life. And he gets stopped at the 21-yard line. And now you got another timeout taken here with 2:43. But Denver is now down to 1 timeout and a 2-minute warning.
But that penalty call was huge because you had an incomplete pass. The clock's going to stop. You're going to save a timeout.
Yep. Just one other thing on the Hillman fumble, just to make this perfectly clear. As we talk about, Fox could have challenged. What Fox could have challenged was that he was down before the ball came out. It was already ruled a fumble, and then the recovery. He couldn't have challenged the recovery at that point. So he knew that he would have lost the challenge because the ball was clearly out, even though there was some question as to who had the ball at the end of the play. So it's 2nd down and 9 now at the 21-yard line. And here is Richardson. He goes nowhere again, but at least he holds on to the football. And now Denver will take its final timeout. So it's 3rd and 8. They have to stop him here to get the ball back. Then the clock would stop at the 2-minute warning as Indy could run it all the way down. And then they would need a touchdown and a field goal. One more look at that Vickerson personal foul.
He gave him a little chest bump.
Yeah.
I'll give him that. He gave him a little chest bump. I think Luck did a nice job of giving him a little acting, but boy, this league.
Yeah. But why even fool around at that point? I mean, you know,
crazy.
what are you doing?
It's crazy.
And especially in a situation that would have been, as I say, a blessing for Denver on every level. Incomplete pass, then use a timeout, 3rd and long. Now it's 3rd down and 9. And the ball is given to Brown, and he'll take it to the 22, and that's going to take that clock to the 2-minute warning. So after the 2-minute warning, you'll have a McAfee punt, and then Manning will have to lead a couple of drives, one resulting in a touchdown and one resulting in a field goal. So obviously they can go in either manner, get 3 + 7 or 7 + 3, and obviously there's an onside kick in the middle of all that.
Well, you still have to kick it to Trendon Holiday, though.
Yeah, well, if he does, but McAfee's had a big night. 2-minute warning in the Indiana State Capitol. 39-30 Colts. Only Holiday is back. Denver set up for a block. And McAfee's kick is a beauty. There's a flag down at the line of scrimmage, and it's fair caught by Holiday at the 21-yard line. And you got a hold coming up, but it's against Indianapolis.
He'll be punting that one again.
Yeah, he definitely will be punting that one
The
again.
kick holding, number 45 offense. Half the distance to the goal, a 10-yard penalty. Repeat 4th down.
Yeah, because that's a 50, would have been what, a 57-yard kick.
Well, now you get the old dreaded, your punt team ran down the field once and you try and catch him again too. Well, that one interception looms large here, doesn't it? The pressure on Peyton Manning that they've been able to get that other teams have not been able to get, both rushing him and pressure on his wide receivers on the outside, really has been how the Colts have done this so far tonight.
Well, Jacksonville showed a little bit of that last week, even though they were completely overmatched in that game. But able to put a couple of licks on him. And now McAfee This one is a wobbly. You have another flag that comes in. And Holiday from the 44-yard line, and he'll go out of bounds in front of the Colts bench, and then another flag at the end of the play. So you had an immediate flag and then one at the end of the play. And that's going to be against Indy again. It has taken those two kicks 18 seconds off the clock along the way here. So at least one call will go against Indy.
It definitely looked like a block in the back. I thought whoever the up back was did a little takedown move on his guy, but that one, there's no flag on that one.
So Fox having the options explained here, or at least the interpretation of the calls. And clearly John's going to have a decision to make because he's going to be the beneficiary of what happens here in terms of the penalty call. Right now there was a 33-yard difference between.
Fouls by both teams on the play. Holding number 29 of the offense. Holding number 12 defense. Illegal block in the back, number 53 of the receiving team. All those fouls offset. We'll replay 4th down.
So you replay it again, and what it does, I mean, I mentioned 18 seconds have already come off the clock.
It's a pretty good strategy.
Yeah, I know. Just keep getting offsetting penalties, and they'll run the clock out.
We talk about the second time you have to run down on a punt. Well, here comes the third time you have to run down on a punt.
And Holiday this time sets up at the 40-yard line.
And I think that's exactly what happened here. They decided they're going to take a timeout and just give the guys a little breather.
Well, this was as anticipated a regular season matchup as I can remember in a lot of years. Kind of a crazy game in a way, but Indianapolis took command early on. Looked like Peyton was going to effect a tremendous comeback and still might. But all in all, it's a pretty memorable night.
Well, and it's a huge night for Andrew Luck. I mean, to bring Peyton Manning back in here and the love affair and the big reception and the tribute and all those things, and yet here you are, the guy who's trying to replace him, not only with this football team, but in this community as the next guy. And I think mission accomplished here tonight.
Well, Luck told us the other day, he said, look, I have to approach this like every other week. And, of course, the good thing for him is he was very much out of the spotlight. Peyton was in it. Jim Irsay was completely bathed in it. And Luck just went about his business. And Holiday's going to let it bounce. And
which doesn't help either.
Yeah, I mean, Holiday could have come up and made a fair catch, and then you got a little action to the 38. So meanwhile, since the 2-minute warning and the 3 punts, it took 32 seconds, or about a quarter of the remainder of the game off the clock.
That was a big no catch on the end of that punt. That probably took another 10 seconds off.
So again, here goes Manning, and again, you can either, if they get into field goal range, I wouldn't be surprised to see them kick it right away and then try the onside kick. First things first, Manning goes to work from the 38-yard line. Throws, caught, Decker. They get a first down at the 43, but there are no timeouts remaining. Clock at 1:15. Peyton from the 42. Chased out and just throws it away, and that'll stop the clock with 63 seconds.
You know, it is an interesting discussion. Should they get it down in field goal range? If you do kick the field goal, then you get the onside kick, you have to assume. The Hail Mary situations are a little more obvious at the end of the game in that situation.
I think that's what they do. I mean, if they get in field goal range And Prater's very good. You got to take your shot at 3, and you have to onside kick it anyway, even if you got the touchdown. 2nd down and 10. And Manning to the outside, and Thomas has to make sure he gets out of bounds, and he does. He gets the 1st down. You have 58 seconds. They're going to spot the ball at the 30, 29-yard line now. So you'd be looking at a 47-yard attempt. Probably run another play or so before you want to bring Prater into the game.
How close is close enough, though?
Yeah.
I think they're going to continue on this for a while.
Well, they still have 58. You still have Manning. And Peyton is going to get pressured, slings it, and it's going to be dropped, and no problem there because that'll stop the clock, as Moreno wouldn't have gained very much anyway. 2nd and 10. Prater loosening up.
Well, the Colts have gotten pretty consistent pressure inside. We talk about Robert Mathis, but they've gotten some pressure inside. That time, Feely Moala putting some heat on Peyton.
And Mathis over on the sideline. 52 seconds. 2nd and 10. Manning deep, and it's tipped and incomplete. You have 4 blue shirts. Welker says, "Where's the flag?" There is none. 3rd down.
My opinion should have been. I guess you could say he's going for the ball and you're mixing up, but it definitely knocks Welker off his opportunity to make this catch before the ball arrives. But he does go up and is making a play on the ball. Probably incidental contact. I'm going to change my mind and say that was the right call.
Cassius Vaughn was the man covering. You got 3rd down and 10. And Manning is going to get tackled at the 28-yard line. And now you're almost compelled to get that field goal team
run him
in.
out. Yeah,
they have to run him out. They're going to run him out right now. You got to try to kick a field goal. It's going to be a 46-yard attempt and then an onside kick.
But that's a big difference between an incomplete pass in that situation. And now, because they do a substitution, the referees are going to let the Colts substitute as well, which is continuing to burn the clock.
Right, and the clock all the way at 15. Prater's kick from 47 will be good, but now you got to recover you have to recover an onside kick, and then you have a Hail Mary or maybe 2 plays max. 39-33, and Del Rio and the bench arguing that there should have been an interference call on Welker. Even the defensive coordinator is going to argue in that case.
Well, I think what he's saying is that's a field goal. They don't have to match substitutions on a field goal like you would a defensive play where the offense comes in and makes a change. At least that's what my lip reading told me there.
So now you've got the special teams going over how to cover, take care of onside kicks. If you're Indianapolis, how to cover it. Denver needs to recover it. Has to go 10 yards before you can touch it, the kicking team, unless the receiving team touches it first, and it's a free ball.
Here we go. Here are the 2 catchers. These walls here are going to try and come up and block to set it up for the guys in back. LeVon Brazil and Darius Butler.
And a hopper, and that will go out of bounds, but it's off the hands of Brazil, and Indianapolis will be able to run the clock out. Well, so Peyton Manning will keep his helmet on, but he can take it off in 11 seconds because the Indianapolis Colts will come away with a win. And again, in Pagano's reign, in Luck's reign here, this team has not lost 2 in a row following a season in which they went 2-14. And the Colts go to 5-2 and hand Denver its first loss of the season. And that means, and you could have gotten about $1,000,000 to 1 on it, As we go to the end of October, the Kansas City Chiefs are the only undefeated team in the National Football League.
And this is no fluke for the Colts. They've already beaten San Francisco out there.
Right.
They beat Seattle here and now knock off the undefeated Broncos in here. So this is a team that's played a very difficult schedule and starting to look like one of those teams Denver Broncos may have to see again down the road.
Great point, because in so many power polls, Denver, San Francisco, and Seattle were 1, 2, 3. In any order you wish, and the Colts have knocked off all of them. So many friends, people on the other side of the field that he knows so well.
What he was telling us about the clubhouse guys, he still makes a call in there once a week.
Yep.
Conference call to the guys in the clubhouse in Indianapolis, still pays the dues to the clubhouse guys, very connected to this organization still, but welcome to the land of luck. I think we do have one of those moments here.
Yep.